Welcome to the 108 podcast, starring the drunk uncles of White Sox Twitter. He's at his ideal weight if he were 10 feet tall, beef loaf. Never holding but always partaking, not hungry but will eat, my sock summer. And your host, he's aged and smells like a sharp cheddar, Terezi E.
Thank you, Cornsey, and welcome to the From the 108 podcast. Get ready for some baseball, beer, and bullshit. And remember the drinking rules. If Beef Loaf says allegedly, or that he wrote a blog about that, you drink.
I wrote a couple.
Do it.
If My Sock Summer doesn't know a player or mentions his time on the West Coast, you drink. And if I swear or say, here's the thing, you drink. Beef Loaf, how you doing tonight?
Boys, I'm wonderful. And the reason why I'm wonderful, well, one of the many reasons why I'm wonderful, is I've got not one, but two Roombas these days. iRobot Roombas. It's going to get weird. Two Roombas. I want to let you guys know, man, people were tweeting at me about me buying my second Roomba. Yes, I am bougie now. People were calling me elitist. People were wanting my iRobots to fight each other. That's not the purpose of them. They're here to clean my house. You know what?
Wars.
Having two Roombas is like the dream, man. People want to live in the south of France. Fuck that. What I want is tiny robots cleaning up my house. Machinery doing absolutely everything possible inside my house. That is the absolute dream. This is like 21st century shit. You know what? I'm like even better than George Jetson. George Jetson thought he was going to get to the spot. Your boy, the Beef Loaf, is right in the spot. Fuck George Jetson. I'm ahead of him. That's it. Two Roombas. And it's wonderful. I can't wait to get up in the morning and turn that little fucking thing on and hear and buzz all around the house and pick up pieces of cat fur.
My Sock Summer. This is.
You got the mop one?
This is the first.
No, this is just
the
a regular
first conversation in a series of conversations that leads to Beef Loaf having a sex robot.
Yeah.
That's what he's building up. I mean, he already has it. He just hasn't told us about it yet. He's just building up towards it.
It's either that, Terezi, I agree. It's either that or Beef Loaf getting killed by the robots.
Yes.
Like he's gonna get his ball hairs caught up in one of those Roombas, and then the other one's gonna signal the other one's like, I got him by the balls, and the other one's gonna get him by the hair. We're gonna
rip
him
him
apart.
He's gonna have bandages on his
everywhere.
hands like Seymour in Little Shop of Horrors, and he won't admit to us that it's the Roomba's been nibbling on his fingers, and eventually, it's gonna get caught on his hair and just like swallow up his whole head.
It's gonna be feasting on my crumb.
He's gonna have like an awesome.
I would never put my pube anywhere near the Roomba. They're way too good at picking hair up, right? They're not always good at getting
They're not
everything.
good at anything. But
they're good at picking up hair, man. I've set that thing around the house and it runs for 90 minutes or whatever the fuck, and I open it up and there's a whole nother cat worth of hair in that goddamn thing, man. So they're pretty good at picking up the hair, that's for sure.
Beef, you ever see the Whitest Kids You Know skit where the guy's like he's in like a Home Depot or something and he's like looking at a vacuum cleaner and the guy that works there like walks up to him and just goes, "That thing will rip your dick off."
Let
me try. Let me see. Let me try.
Put up Brian's quote for everybody to see. That's a good one. The Suckbach 9000. That's a good one.
How dare you? Oh, we're off to a roaring start. I don't know why. You know what? I blame you guys for the Cosby shit.
You brought it up.
I tried to set you idiots for that with that Cosby shit, and you didn't even take the joke. And now I get bodied like I'm a big Cosby fan or something like that.
You brought it up.
Cosby Show sucked. A Different World sucked. All that stuff sucked.
Best sitcom, and you're like, Cosby Show. We're like, what?
No. Beef, I also don't get how you have so many like Roombas running around. Like, what do you have now? 15 with how
one
many
for each
cats you
cat.
have?
Yeah, one for
Look,
each
the
cat.
cats, they don't want nothing to do with the Roomba. And Morton does not like the Roomba.
Oh,
He's
of
scared
course.
of the Roomba. Now Morton's a moron, so that makes
Yeah.
sense, right? He doesn't understand that it's just cleaning up.
He's a pussy.
He's an idiot, but you
Yeah.
know the cats
He's
don't
bougie.
mess with it. Cappuccino will lay on the ground and the Roomba will come for him, and like the other cats will move. You know, Rogie and Pinkie Pie, they move. Cappy doesn't move. He waits for it to bump into him, and then he gets all indignant and starts swatting
See,
at
that's
him.
the thing. His tail's gonna get caught in that thing. You're gonna have a whole fucking situation.
Okay, you know what? I respected Cappy before, but I respect him a hell of a lot more now that he just lets the Roomba bump into him. The other cats are like going crazy, and he's probably terrified too. But he's like, I'm gonna fucking head fuck these motherfuckers, and it's like, let it bump me. That's awesome. That's balls. That's balls on that neutered cat.
He's a tough guy in the house. He's the only tough guy we got in the house.
So
Hitter,
Mark Beef down. Robot ump enthusiast.
Yeah.
My Sock Summer, how you doing tonight, man?
Dude, I'm doing great, and I have a lot of things I want to talk about right now, and I even wrote it down. I put it down in some
shit.
things. I don't know if you guys know. You guys know Vinny Paradis? Paris?
No.
Paris? Okay. Apparently, he's a writer/editor for Fansided. Now, when he tweeted something the other day, yeah, well, that's what I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
Apparently, when he tweeted something the other day, I thought it said Vinny Duber, and what he tweeted like made my head like kind of explode, and I was like, "What the fuck are you doing, Duber?" And then I went and it was like, "That's not Duber. That's Vinny Paris." So he's an expert of something called at Sox Showdown and at the Windy City FS. Now, he's verified, and he is a podcaster. He's a podcaster for one of our favorites, the at Barroom Network, who employ our Bearstown 19, the Gabe Silf.
Gabe Silf.
So I've listened to one of those. And when Gabe was on, he tweeted something the other day, and this is what he said. He said, Jock Peterson made less money than Adam Eaton in 2021. I hope the Chicago White Sox make some smart decisions this winter. And I was befuddled. First off, because even my ignorant ass knew that the Sox had offered money to Jock Peterson to come and play for them.
Yes, sir. So,
like in the digital age, right? Like you want to get the receipts, right? You want to put that out there. So I'm like, I know I've read this. Let me look up a site, or a blog or something that confirms it, because I just want to throw it out there so everybody sees. Punch in the Google machine. I'm like, Jock Peterson, White Sox deal. Bam. What comes up? A fucking article written by who? Fansided. The place that he's an editor of wrote the fucking article about it. And like literally, like guys, sometimes I don't get on things very quickly because, I'm doing other shit. I'm buying Beanie Babies. I'm selling Beanie Babies. I'm trying not to buy more
Beanie Babies. Mostly Beanie Babies.
Try not to buy a Beanie Babies.
That's all I really do. Okay, laundry and sell Beanie Babies. That's all I do.
That's impressive.
But anyway, I'm like, I was on it right away, so I retweeted it immediately. I said, the Sox offered him more money. They turned him down. Here's the receipt. And he followed me and then retweeted it. And I'm like, where do we go from here? Because this is very uncomfortable. So I followed him back. Yeah. But anyway, I'm like, you didn't know this. And then he's like, okay, I fucked up. But he didn't say it like that. He said it like this. In another tweet, he said, clarification. That didn't mean the Sox should have went for Peterson because they
yes.
But he said clarification. That didn't mean the Sox should have went for Peterson because they did. It means that you can get value in free agents if you evaluate things properly. This ain't it, Vinny.
Incredible.
Like you can't say, oh, fuck, Jock Peterson made less money than Adam Eaton. And then say, oh no, that didn't mean we should have taken Jock Peterson over Adam Eaton. I'm just saying if you evaluate things, it's better. First off, the Sox clearly evaluated something, because I'm all for like calling out the fucking front office when they fuck up. They offered Jock money, and Jock turned them the fuck down. So they saw the talent and said, please come play. Jock's like, I'm going to roll the dice here. And he rolled the dice, and he immediately was like, give me my dick back. Give me my dick back. I'm on the Cubs. I don't need to be on the Cubs. Cubs suck. Anyway, I was just like, it just blows my mind. It don't tell me how I'm supposed to think about what you just said. You said it. So I can take, you're comparing these two people specifically. I'm going to compare them because you put them in the same goddamn tweet. So I was very frustrated with Vinny Parise. And I almost don't even want to bring this up, but you know what? I have to. He dropped another one the day after. Yeah. Vinny, I know you're gonna be like, man, this 108 guy is got his dick on hard for me, but I don't. I think that it's gonna have some very interesting tweets, and they're funny, and they're great in a Shy Sox Mike kind of like general purpose way. He says the next day, if I were the Chicago White Sox, I would put an emphasis on home runs this offseason.
Wow.
And he says, why? The Boston Red Sox. And listen, I look to you guys to provide some knowledge that I might miss out on sometimes. But in these cases, my knowledge is totally fucking fine. Because from what I can tell, the Sox put a lot of emphasis on the home runs because we left about 87 people on base, I think, during the playoffs and the 3 or 4 games that we played. So we didn't hit home runs. We hit a lot of ground balls in the infield. We'll talk more at length about that. But I don't know if we should be focusing on the home runs anymore. Maybe we should talk about manufacturing a few runs. Well, like, it's great when it happens.
I mean, it's also like it's saying like focus on home runs. Like that's like saying get the best players.
Yeah, no, of course. The best outcome in that bat is a home run. Yes, we'd like more of those. Everyone wants more of them.
Get the really good defenders that hit tons of home runs.
Yeah.
Jeez, guys.
You know what? Let's stop getting free agents that are not good. Let's get better free agents.
Do you think though it's a condition of do you think this is how this guy always tweets? I don't know if you went back through any of his history or not, or do you think because he was reticent to take the L from you that you derailed him? And he's like, I got to put something out there that is, Teflon, that no one can come back at. It's like, well, yeah, everyone wants home runs. Good call here. Because he didn't want to take the actual L. He could have just tweeted and said, you're right, I fucked up. I didn't know what was going on. I don't know if it's a condition of blue check mark or just this guy didn't want to take the L or what.
It's not like hard-hitting analysis. We need guys to score more runs and hit more home runs. Yeah, we'll probably win more if we do that. Yeah. I mean, I get that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I could go off into another area, but I'm not going to. So, Chorizo, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. So, the other day, I watched this movie, and it's quite the movie. So, it's from 2018. It's called Lords of Chaos. If you're not familiar, it is a biopic of a guy named Euronymous. So he's a Norwegian dude, and this is in the early 80s, like kind of like 83 84 I think setting, and he's like known as the founder of Norwegian black metal. Like this is basically his invention, according to the lore.
What's the difference between Norwegian death metal and like just regular old death metal?
Black metal.
Okay,
he doesn't think he didn't think that death metal was extreme enough.
Okay.
So he wanted like true satanic music and came up with black metal. And so him and his buddies, I guess buddies is a loose term here.
Yeah.
But like so they had like this scene, and it's like it's mostly Swedish and Norwegian bands, and they're just like they're nuts. What did you say?
I said virgins.
Not even close. Not even close. My sex summer.
And they're all having sex everywhere.
Yes. Yes. Man. And so, but
do they work for Fansided?
They have, so they have like this group of like dudes, and they call it like the Black Circle or something, some shit.
Mhm.
And like they have like all these fucked up ideas, right? Like, well, we should burn down churches and I want to go stab someone just to see how it is. And then they start doing these things, right? And the part of this whole thing that disgusted me the most was that these motherfuckers wouldn't tour. I was just like, they're so popular that people are going out and burning down churches for them. And they can't figure out that maybe you just go out on the road and you become rich. Like they had this huge fan base, and they're just like, and they were anti-touring. They were like, touring is like celebrating life, and we hate life.
Oh, jeez.
So we're not going to tour. And I'm just sitting there going, like, I could, like, if I was running a label and I signed these guys, and then and by the way, this is a true story. This isn't like it's not it's not like some fantasy.
If you made this up,
this is an actual true story. Yeah, Carmen's got it. It's the guy from Mayhem, and Emperor. One of the guys from Emperor is kind of a tiny bit in the movie, but yeah, they have like this huge fan base. People love them, and they just won't fucking go on the road. And I just kept thinking, like, if I was running their label, I'd be like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Stop sitting in the basement talking about stabbing people. Go fucking tour.
Tracy, I got two things popped in my head immediately. One, are you just mad that you have to fly to Norway to see these guys? And that's your whole thing? You wish they were going to play at the Metro next week? And number two, what's your rating on their music? Give me the down low on the music. Give me the down low. How good are they?
Let me answer one first, because so Euronymous is not alive.
Okay.
And it was at the hands of a bandmate.
Wow, man.
You know, a bunch of these guys are dead or in jail or just recently released from prison. So
good crew.
I'm not going to go see them.
That may be why they can't tour, Teresa. I'm not saying. I'm just saying they may have made up the whole "we don't want to tour" because they can't.
Yeah, because they're in prison.
They're in prison. Exactly.
I don't follow your fucking laws.
Pre-prison.
They're on work release. It's got to stay local. You can't go
pre-prison. Maybe they wouldn't have got caught had they been going around the world. The music, like so Beef, the black metal and death metal, you know, the actual music is fairly similar.
Okay.
Right. And so I'm always been impressed, especially by like the drums in these bands. Like they're like, everyone plays so fast. It's just like incredible. It's not really something I listen to, and the lyrics, I have trouble getting into the lyrics of not so much the actual lyrics themselves, but like the singing, the vocals are just not like they're a lot of it's like
barking almost, right?
It's
real throaty.
You can't really tell what they're doing, and there's not a lot of rhythm to the singing either, right? Like I'm fine with like a metal singer who's just kind of like screaming or whatever, but it makes it kind of adds an instrument to the song. I've never felt that way about like the really hardcore death metal and the black metal stuff. Okay. I'd even take a guy like King Diamond, who's gonna go like falsetto over all of it, you know, like it's so like they had like some of the music in the movie, but not much. I've never been that big into Mayhem, so I didn't know this story. I just, buddy was like, you got to check this out. It's fucked up. And it is fucked up. Like if you're thinking like oh, Treasy really liked this movie, I should check it out. If you like Halloween movies, I mean, like this is probably good. There's like a lot of people get stabbed in this movie for a music biop.
What was the name of the movie?
Lords of Chaos.
What's it on?
It's on Hulu. But here's the other thing.
Wicked.
Macaulay Culkin's brother plays the main dude.
Oh, what?
Oh, the great freeze up
movie.
That was perfect.
It's a movie. It's not like a documentary.
I don't want to watch it then. I want to watch the documentary.
I'm sure there's a documentary.
You want to watch the people getting knifed for real? No.
I just don't. I don't like that. I don't want to see stuff being.
You don't like the dramatization of like the thing.
Like, no, I mean, I would like to. Yeah, that kind of bothers me.
Okay.
Like you're playing some character. Like I'd rather see the actual degenerates sitting in their piss and shit filled basement talking about murdering people. That would be more fun to me.
So MSS, that's kind of the problem here, though. So I think they had to make it into a movie because when it comes to a documentary, they would have to interview all the players. They're not all alive, and the ones that are have varying stories on this stuff.
See, that makes it the best, though.
So like,
when they don't know, like they can't even confirm.
I'll send you one of the Wikipedia pages that you've paid a lot of money to keep going.
I did.
I
think I donated $5 last time.
That tells the story.
Yeah.
And like, there's even on the Wikipedia page, you can't get like a straight answer of what fucking happened.
$5, that's like 9 Beanie Babies,
right?
Goddamn.
No, I watched some documentary. I talked about it. I feel like on the pod where it was.
We weren't paying attention.
I know. I'm sure you weren't. I probably blacked out and froze up. But it was like the same kind of deal. It was like this like satanic guy, like whatever. It's like called the devil, or something like that.
Okay.
And he had like filed down his teeth, like he was just being freaky, and then shit got real, and it was like. And like somehow he evaded killing like 3 people for like 4 years, and he had it buried on his property, and his house smelled like death, and they still couldn't they couldn't even get it. They couldn't figure it out. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? Like it was very confusing to me, and I get confused easily, but this was very confusing.
I could talk about this movie all day, but I'm gonna not do that. So let's get to the old show poll.
Hey-oh!
Ooh, baby.
And kind of staying on topic, I'm gonna ask you guys a question. Who is your favorite horror movie villain?
Favorite or best? Favorite?
Whichever you want, my son. However you want to answer.
Well, I'll change it on the poll. I'm gonna go with my favorite, my number one, my ride or die, the guy that I've always wanted to be for Halloween and have never been. Fucking Jason from Friday the 13th. I like him mostly because he's just a beast. And there's like he's like supernatural versus like just some crazy ass person that like can like escape death. It's like he's just fucking. There's some weird shit going on there. Plus the hockey mask. I mean,
excellent swimmer.
Yeah.
He can hold his breath for
not as a kid
for years.
Not as a kid.
He got better, Teresa.
Yeah.
As a kid, bad swimmer.
As
he got to adult and became supernatural, could hold his breath for unlimited amounts of time.
Yeah.
When he went to Manhattan, I saw that firsthand.
I loved all those movies. I bought them all when I was drunk at a Walmart for $3 a piece. It was a great investment that just keeps giving back. So I'm gonna go with Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th.
Jason X is terrible, but if it's on, I'm watching it. Beef, who do you got?
Man, I gotta go with a guy who I just watched his brand new fucking film, Halloween Kills, and Bonita and I like going through the Halloween movies, especially we like 4 and 5. Probably those are like maybe our favorites. But I gotta go with Michael Myers.
Yeah,
and Michael Myers, like, bro, if Michael Myers didn't get into killing, he could have been Gronk, man. He's 6'7". He's got unlimited like range with the hands, very strong. All that shit. I don't understand. He could have been in the NFL. He could have been a star. He chose killing. He prefers to kill. That's it, man.
Great cardio too. I mean, that guy.
There's no question.
It looks like he's walking everywhere, and he is fast.
He's got speed, baby. He's
got
speed.
I mean, I will say he doesn't have the Gronk personality. I don't see him doing the commercials. Like
he's a little more Aaron Hernandez in that respect.
Yes, yeah, a lot more.
In some other respects, maybe too. Yeah, that's it. He's not Gronk, but to me, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT, man. He had some good Sorry, MSS. He had Dr. Loomis, as a good, going, but then he killed Dr. Loomis, so then now he's unstoppable.
Yeah. I heard he had a bad high school football coach, kind of derailed his whole career. Treasy, who do you got?
So, Michael Myers is the top of the list, man. He's the top of the list. But I'm gonna throw someone in who I think is just straight terrifying. And especially in the original, the very first in this whole series, like they've done remakes and all this, but Leatherface is a fucking like. So you got to think about it this way. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is about a family of cannibals, and Leatherface is the most fucked up. Like he stands up. It's like I could probably deal with the rest of these cannibals, but this guy, what the fuck? Like he's wearing someone else's face.
He's extra.
You know? And so it's like
extra.
He's an alpha male. The rest of them are betas.
They're like basic bitch cannibals.
And like there's so many good scenes in that first Texas Chainsaw Massacre with Leatherface, like where he busts out the door, or like when he slams shut the big sliding door. Like there's all these like great kind of like horror movie moments on like such a low budget movie that it's just like, and the first Halloween too, Beef, like low budget, man.
Yeah.
And like,
there's no question.
And like just incredible.
They got
Brian S wants to know, what did Michael Myers get on the Wonderlick? I'm not sure. We'll look that up. We'll Google it. We'll figure out what happened.
There's a series on Netflix. They had the Toys That Made Us. Now they're doing the Movies That Made Us. And
I've been watching a couple.
The Friday the 13th and the Halloween one were both very, very good. I watched both of those, and then like I think I'm in the middle of the Nightmare Before Elm Street. But yeah, the Halloween's like origin story is pretty awesome. And then the Friday the 13th with like the guy took out an ad in Variety a year before they even wrote. They didn't even have a script. They didn't have anything. They just had a title, and they took out a title, and they're like the scariest, most shocking movie ever. And it said Friday the 13th. And then they're like, "Fuck, we got to sell this movie. We got to figure it out." And the whole premise behind Friday the 13th was to rip off Halloween. So they just had like that was. They're like, "Yo, this is doing really well. We should fucking rip this off." And
Let's
they
make our
did.
own.
Like, yeah.
We'll also make it in Illinois.
But
they
made
it onto this. They won't even notice.
Halloween ripped off Halloween. They're like, wow, that was really successful. Do it again.
Do it, same thing.
Do it again. The same, but the guy died at the end. Do it again.
Do it again. See what happens.
Guys, before we move on, I got to get this off my chest. I would think about picking Freddy Krueger right here in this top three. The problem is, Bonita and I watched one of the newer Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
Yeah.
It's not Robert Englund anymore, and Freddy don't look right. I can't get into the new Freddy. Fuck that new Freddy, man. He don't look right. He's not.
But I'm pretty sure.
Fuck the new Freddy.
But I'm pretty sure,
yeah,
Beef, that the new Freddy
is
actually Kelly from the Bad News Bears.
Yeah.
And the guy from
you can go get fucked then. Yeah,
the guy from Semi-Pro. It's the guy from Semi-Pro that hits the half-court shot. I'm almost positive. Someone could correct me in the comments.
I gotta look that up. I gotta figure that out. But the new Freddy sucks. The new Freddy's terrible.
All right, man. Andre 3000.
Damn, Jack.
All right. I got a question for you guys. What are you drinking?
Marron.
Beef, what are you drinking, buddy?
You know what? Tonight, I'm going with the Chairman's Reserve. The rum. Forgotten cask. Delicious. I'm just going with it neat. Got a little ice water to back it up if I need that later, or to massage the pipes as we're talking a lot for the night. But it's a little rum. I'm trying to stay away from the beer. We'll get into that kind of later on in the show as we're all trying to lose weight. But no beer for me tonight. I'm going to go straight with rum.
My Sock Summer, what are you drinking, buddy?
I've gone 100% basic bitch. I am on the Vizzy right now. It is a hard seltzer. With this one, it has a hint of papaya and passion fruit. It has antioxidants and vitamin C, so I will not be getting a cold anytime soon. Plus, at 100 calories, they have a little bit of flavor, and they keep me slim. Chorizo, what you got?
Well, so I am drinking beer because we got our own beer now.
Oh,
yes.
You fuck.
Yeah.
Damn right, baby. Little Friday
and guess what?
Fancy fuck.
Last one.
Gone.
I went there.
How the fuck?
I went there and I was like, I need 2 crowlers of Little Friday. And they filled up the first one and they came over like, hey, we gotta put in the next keg. It'll just be a few minutes. And I was like, yeah, take your time. And then they came back like a few minutes later and they're like, we're sold out.
Oh,
sold out, baby.
Man, we sold out, baby. That's
we're
awesome.
sellouts. We're sellouts.
Everyone knows that already.
When that came down, like, because initially, and I'm just going to be honest, when they said, "Hey, do you think you guys could sell 7 to 9 kegs of beer?" I said possibly, but I didn't think we were going to sell it in like 3 weeks. That's pretty fucking amazing.
Exactly.
Go Goose Island for making such a great beer. I know they haven't made a lot of pilsners / lagers, so it's kind of like that's helpful. But it was also fucking goddamn delicious.
Yeah,
and we really have to have
all you people that were drinking it.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
I hope that's what it was. I hope all you fuckers. And as soon as I get a total of how much money it's going to donate to the charity, I will let you guys know. The charity is My Block, My Hood, My City. So will be the proceeds that we would receive for that. Instead of buying fancy Roombas, we are going to donate it to somebody else because we don't need the money. We're fucking loaded. I should buy a third
Roomba just to.
We have 3 Roombas among us.
That's right.
Chris, Teresa, do you have a Roomba?
Yeah, I have one.
All right, so we have 4 Roombas for the 3 of us. So
that's it. I'm getting a third one.
Somebody needs to have another.
Show everyone up.
I'm gonna get another one just to ride on top of my current one.
Love, could you get one with the mop function so I can see how that works? Because I would love to see how that works.
You know what? I worry about getting them when they get a little too fancy because then they jam up and it's like more maintenance for me. You know how handy I am. It's
I'm gonna get one very handsy.
Yeah, I'm gonna get one that puts polyurethane on your floor. I'm gonna get one like that.
Now,
let it run over the rug.
Slight fire hazard.
Before we move to the next part, I want to tell Sal. First off, fuck you, Sal. I would not be complaining about the freshness of a lager / pilsner. They do not go bad. Like they're as quickly as a highly hopped, fresh, hop beer. Like anything that has like a very fresh flavor. You're not going to get that. These had a little bit of haze and they had some sweetness to it, but no, it's not going to go bad. So you can go to hell and fuck off. So,
Tim, I have not named the Roombas. That was the comment we put up on the screen. Well, what are the Roombas' names? You know what? These are not sex robots like everyone in the comments are saying. They're not. They're not named. They just clean the floor. Okay, that's what I'm paying for here. I'm paying for them to clean the floor.
I think it's a little disturbing that you would name your sex robot. Just to be honest.
Your
what is your sex robot?
Your housekeeping slaves.
All right, call in sex robot names. Light them up.
That's our next
draft, actually.
Yo,
pay some bills.
Let's do it. I was talking to a friend and they said, and I quote, "Oh, those new Mazdas have some serious curves, like a Porsche Cayenne." And I was like, do you know who the fuck you're talking to? I mean, I got a guy that can help you out. And that's the thing about Mazda of Orland Park. You got a guy there. You roll up in that piece and say, my guy, my Sack Summer sent me. Or even say, my main man, Teresa, sent me here to get a new ride. And they will show you the respect you deserve. They won't bust your balls. They just want you to be happy. The car you're looking at right now, that's a Mazda CX-30 Turbo Premium Package with an all-wheel drive. Ain't that sexy? You fucking know this. And it's loaded. You want windshield wipers that are smarter than King Nam? This SUV has them. It senses when it's raining. It just senses it. 100% amazing. Check out all the features on their website, MazdaofOrlandPark.com. Give them a follow over at Zoom Zoom Nation. And if you're on the Twitters, they are a Carfax top-rated dealer and take advantage of their $500 discount for Sox fans. Mazda of Orland Park, home of the Zoom Zoom Nation. 8910 West 159th Street in Orland Park. 708-444-3200. Zoom Zoom.
Oh, yeah. Those wipers are awesome, by the way.
And they're definitely smarter than King Nam, right?
They're slightly.
Slightly.
I don't think he's in the chat, so
no.
I feel bad because I specifically put that in there because I feel like sometimes he gets like dropped out, like when we're like busting people's balls, and like I feel like I need to bust his balls. So I was like, what better way to bust his balls than say he's dumber than a wheelchair wiper? So I thought that was good.
So what you're saying is we got to ramp up the amount we bust the King's balls.
It's off season, bro. It's off season. That's what we're supposed to do. It's a sport.
I'll get on that. I'll start blogging 5 days a week about how he sucks.
How he sucks.
Guys, what do you think about a little baseball talk?
Woo!
I love it, baby.
All right, let's do this shit. So I talk about
flex.
We want to talk about starting pitching, right? And so I want to start out here because I think I haven't heard many people talk about this, so I think it's a topic maybe we could get into and just think about for next season. So I know there was tons of injuries on the offensive side of the ball. Right? So like we had, Eloy and Madrigal was out and Robert and like there was it wasn't great over there. But the pitchers, the starting pitchers in particular, were extremely healthy. So they made the 5 starting pitchers that we had this season accounted for 145 starts out of the 162 games, which is a fucking ton. So to put this into perspective, I think we all had a good time watching the Padres not make the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
But let's think about this for a second. Clevenger was out for the whole season, right? So he pitched 0 games. And then you take the 5 guys that they had after Clevenger. Those guys accounted for 128 starts. So that's minus Clevenger and then 17 less starts than our starting pitchers. So imagine take 17 starts away from the guys that we had.
Yep.
Evenly distributed. So you lose some Keuchel ones, so that's fine.
Yeah.
But you got to replace them with something. And then, throw Giolito off the roster.
And add
horrifying.
And full-time Jimmy Lambert starts.
Right, because you have to add in that case, you have to add like 47 starts. Where are you getting that from?
Really not good.
Right? And like you think the Padres are like some extreme example. They're not, right? Like the teams that like almost made the playoffs, right? Like the Mariners and the Blue Jays. Both of those across 6 guys that started had less starts than the Sox starting 5. So the Blue Jays had 143, the Mariners had 137 across 6 guys.
Off their top 6, across their top 6.
If you add in Reynaldo Lopez and Michael Kopech starts, it's 158 of the starts.
and there you're getting into there's double headers where you can't have you got to have a rando start them. So like it's like they made every start. They kind of the guys you didn't have enough injuries where you snuck into we got to start them guys for a while. Like we didn't get into that at all.
I'm pretty sure they had 3 guys that had 30 or more starts.
Let me check. You want me to check it?
I think it's Lynn, Keuchel, and Cease.
Cease made all 32.
Lynn had 28 starts.
Lynn had 28. Giolito had 30, right?
Yeah. Well,
I think so. I think it's vice versa.
I know Cease made 32.
But regardless, so like when I'm looking, so here's why I bring this up. Reynaldo Lopez is going to be important to this team next year because he's going to start games.
Yep.
Right? If you're moving Kopech into the starting rotation, he's not going to get as many innings, as many starts as a lot of these guys. He'll probably be around what Rodon gave you, which is like 24 starts, I think.
24 starts, yes.
And so you...
Yeah, I think Kopech threw 74 innings this year, so you can't expect him to like...
So let's say you add a starter so that you replace
69
Rodon.
Innings there, loaf.
Whether it's Rodon replacing Rodon or another guy, and then you put Kopech in there, like you are going to get less starts out of those 5 than you got this year. So Lopez becomes an important guy. And now here's where things get interesting, because you're going to need another starter, right?
Yes.
And it is tough sledding to find a guy that you are not going to count in your starting 5 that you're going to count on for starts. You're looking in like the Trevor Cahills of the world, right? And so my question to you guys on this is, we have Dallas Keuchel, and Dallas Keuchel is expensive, but he's on the roster.
Yep.
Are you putting him in the bullpen as like a guy who's going to eat innings, but when someone gets hurt, you're going to put him in the starting rotation? Or are you going to let Keuchel go and then find a guy that's willing to do that? Or is there a minor league guy that you're going to try and bring in, because you don't have it in the minors right now. You have Lambert and Stever.
That's it.
Stever and Lambert is what you got.
Yep.
And then maybe there's some other guys that like could, throw a magic game or something like out of nowhere. But like you don't got much down there to count on. And you're going to need at least 7 starters, especially if you bring back Rodon. So what are you doing with Keuchel?
I mean, for me, I think Keuchel's on this roster next year, and I think he's filling out the 5th starter role. And I think you're just hoping that you can get 125 innings out of him or something. You're hoping you can squeeze non-terribleness out of him, league average ERA-ish performances out of him. Because he was so bad this last year. But sometimes those guys, you're off for rest, you tweak something, you can at least get back to like mediocrity, and that would be huge to have that coming out of that spot. Because I don't know where you're gonna like the thought of like getting rid of Keuchel or getting rid of his money. I don't know who would even be interested in taking him at this point. Like, I don't think you're gonna have a lot of suitors where you're not footing most of the bill anyway. So I
Dodgers.
I think you're trying to make him as useful as possible here, and I think he's probably your 5th starter.
Beef. When I looked around, it was like, could you trade Dallas Keuchel? Like, I'm trying to think of the places where he plays, right? Like, so where would his talent be appreciated, and where is the team shitty enough that they'll just take a Dallas Keuchel? And the only thing I could come up with was trading him to the Rockies for Ian Desmond.
That sounds like a perfect.
And then I think you just have to kill Ian Desmond. Like there's no use for him. Maybe you play him at second.
No, I don't think so. He hasn't played in like 2 years. I don't think you're playing him anywhere.
He's only $15 million though.
Teresi, it's one of these things too. Like, are there teams that would take the innings because they want to protect some young starters or whatever? Yes, but you don't know if he could provide these innings yet because he might get just too lit up. And no one wants $18 million. You're going to have to pay more than half of that or whatever.
You're eating like all that. But the problem is then you still need to get a guy and convince him.
Yes.
You got to convince this guy. So let's say you fill out the starting 5. Now you got to sign a guy and convince him, like, don't worry, someone's getting hurt. And then you get to play.
I got it. We package up a nice, everyone likes package deals. You get a fucking Dallas Keuchel. You get Blake Rutherford, who's going to be awesome. We know it. He's going to be huge. And then you also throw in like a Matt Foster. I think people will be fucking chomping at the bit to get those 3 players and probably give us something really good. We might be able to get a good starting pitcher from it. Possibly. I'm not sure, but possibly a hard-hitting second baseman. That maybe goes for power, but definitely gets base hits when there's people on base. And I think that would just happen. I think that could just happen. Let's just make it happen.
My Sox Summer's over here bundling subprime mortgages and then grading them A and handing them off.
Like this is
these are A grade right here. When you put these 3 together.
I feel like that was his job in Arizona. He tells us this bullshit story about like being
for Alice Cooper,
being Alice Cooper's caddy or something.
Yeah,
and like. And in truth, he's out there. Jobs. He was selling subprime loans.
I actually knew a buddy that was probably doing that. He tried to get me to buy a house when I was in California. I'm like, I think this is a bad idea. Like, I don't think this is going to work out well, and it didn't work out well.
Now, Teresi, one thing I was looking at, and maybe it could be helpful in the we might have to make do with Dallas Keuchel, but it also might contribute to the Sox had a terrific starting rotation. You mentioned the health, but they were also incredibly productive.
Yeah,
when they started as well, they were basically the best in the majors as far as production. I was looking at the three of our main opponents, and I was looking at them by WRC Plus in the AL, and they rank 11th, 12th, and 14th out of the 15 teams in the AL, and that's Cleveland, Detroit, and Kansas City. So none of them teams can hit. So unless they make a major infusion of talent on any or all of those squads, you're still going to be, during the heat of the season, trotting out there against teams that can't fucking hit anyway.
Yeah.
So maybe it is worthwhile to say, all right, let's tweak Dallas. Maybe his back feels better this year, and we can get 100, 120 innings out of him before we got to discard him. I heard the comparison the other day. Someone's like, I think they're just gonna. It might have been James speaking. I forget who it was, or maybe it was Jim Margolis said they're just gonna trot him out there like late term Johnny Danks and hope for the best.
Yeah.
You know, and like that's a good comparison.
That
right?
was Jim. Yeah.
That was Jim? Okay.
That was Jim.
I knew it was someone I had heard say that. I was like, that sounds about right.
You know, I don't hate him being on the roster. Like there's some value to a guy that throws ground balls. It's just, can he still do it? You know, even a dead cat bounce on Dallas Keuchel is pretty nice. Here's the problem, Beef. I don't think we've got the fielding behind him. And we saw it with Aaron Bummer. There was a million times this season where you're like, all Aaron Bummer needs to do is get a ground ball. And that ground ball is like a single every time. And it's just like, well, he did what he was supposed to, but fuck.
I'm gonna throw this out there, Treasy. I'm gonna buck the trend a little bit because I did write a blog about their defense and how basically if you just like not let Zach Collins ever have a glove again, that solves like half of their defensive deficiencies. I looked up the 2020 White Sox by defensive efficiency on Baseball Reference, right? And that's just like, that's a very rough thing that just is like, how many balls in play did you turn into outs, basically, is the calculation. The White Sox in the 60-game season, out of all teams, were number 2, okay? And then this past year, they were below average. So I don't wonder how much of that is just luck. How much is kind of like a batted ball luck situation where maybe they're probably somewhere in the middle of those two. And maybe like what we saw this year, especially with the left side of the infield, was probably not as bad as you'd think. You know, and then you bring Robert back for an entire year. You know, they didn't have Robert. They didn't have Engel, so the outfield was lacking. I mean, I think the defense will give you the dead cat bounce. So I'm not as worried. They don't have a good defense, but they should at least be okay.
The problem is right now, I think number 1 on the depth chart at second base is Jake Berger. So we got to improve there. We might need to improve there.
Noted Packers fan, Jake Berger.
That's right.
So, Love, I hesitate to say this, but didn't we watch the Houston Astros hit like 19 balls up the middle in game 2? And then when we hit one up the middle, like center up the middle, fucking Little Legs Altuve ran over there and grabbed it and threw the guy out at first, like with the most amazing play. That to me cemented in my brain that our defense is a little lacking.
It's the shifting. It's shifting.
Yeah.
So the Ricky Renteria Sox shifted more than the Tony La Russa Sox. So that's probably some of the batted ball. Like they stink on batted balls this year versus last year. Probably some of it is they were more willing to shift the prior year, and also some of it's probably just bad luck. Some of it's just like, fuck, sometimes the ball finds a hole and you get BABIP, you know, in some spots. So the combination of the two, the defense looked like shit. I mean, everything on the ground seemed to get through, you know?
Well, I mean, partially too, the ground balls that Dallas Keuchel gave up were going 425 miles per hour.
I thought you were going to say 425 feet. So good job. Also, this team can't be built to win the division. This team needs to be built to win a playoff game. It's like we clearly are not built to win a playoff game. And maybe we ran into a buzzsaw that is the Houston Astros, but like Boston's fucking blowing their doors off, right?
No, Houston's ahead in the series now.
Houston's ahead in the series now. Okay.
They swung. Right, listen, Yordan Alvarez started hitting the shit out of everything, and they're back ahead.
All right, so now they're back on. So the cheating is working again. Good. I wanted to know that. It's definitely all iPad related.
We're going to talk more about whether the Sox are built for the playoffs and what deficiencies they have. But one thing that in this topic right here, one thing I have been thinking about a lot was how reliant they were on starting pitching in 2021. And if you look at the playoffs and look at these teams, I mean, these teams aren't getting long starts in general. I mean, Framber Valdez threw 8 innings last night. He's like a fucking unicorn. You know, like this shit is just not happening. A lot of teams are dealing with the shorter starts, and they're having to use their bullpen aggressively. And the combination of the White Sox didn't have as many trusty bullpen arms that they could use, and Tony not being quick enough on the draw to realize, hey, it's the postseason. You cannot depend on the starter to go 7 innings here. This is like, you got to be really fucking aggressive with this. You know, that really banged the Sox hard on the run prevention side. And I don't know what it is these days. I don't know if it's, you know, going max effort all year fatigues the shit out of the starters by the playoffs. And so maybe that's why they have the shorter playoff starts or what. But That's just life these days. The starters just tend to not go deep in general.
And I wonder too, and this goes in line with were we lucky on the health factor? Did they, because they were healthy and they played all year, like by the end of it, were they just fucking burnt? Were they burnt? Were they done? Potentially. I mean, I don't know. They just got ripped up. So who knows?
I mean, MSS, I know you had some thoughts on Lance Lynn, and I don't know if they're along this line, but you want to, if you want to get into that.
Yeah, I'll get on the Lance Lynn. We were at game 1 of the ALCS or ALDS, me and Loaf, and we were talking and
we weren't at the game.
We were watching. We were at Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Yeah, we were at a location watching.
We were at Buffalo Wings and Rings, which now is called, I think it's just called Wings and Rings. Like it's not even Buffalo anymore. I don't know if that was a legal thing or
McDowell's had to change it up.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure.
Cleo McDowell said we got to take
Justin was a little tight-lipped when I asked him about it. He's like, "Yeah, it's a little bit of rebranding." I was like, "Oh, that's a good way to put it."
It's called motherfucking Wings and Rings.
It's like BBB. What? No. So anyway, we were watching this game, and I looked at you, Loaf, and I said, because the last time we saw one of our pitchers get shelled in the playoffs, it was one Dallas Keuchel. And his next year was total shit. Like we witnessed it. It was horrible.
Yep.
And I was like, God, I really hope that Lance doesn't go the way of the fucking, Dallas Keuchel. And immediately I'm like, why did you even fucking say that? And so I was like, I have a tendency to think of things and look at this. And I'm like, initially I'm like, okay, Lance Lynn had a horrible end of the season, horrible end of the year. It's not true. So I went in and I started looking at numbers, and this is something that I don't normally do, and I know I'm ready for old Sal to fucking say something fucking cutesy in the comments, but here it is. So I go back and I start looking at all this stuff. In 2021, he threw 28 games, which is what we talked about. Not the best on the team, but also not that bad. 28 games is pretty fucking fantabulous.
For sure.
And maybe due to a shortened season, his number of games was lower because in 2019, he tossed, I think, 31. I'm going to move in the papers here. 33 games. I'm sorry. So he was 5 less than his most he's ever thrown. Now, are those good things? I guess kind of, right? Like he's still got it going. He had the lowest ERA of his career in 2021, so he wasn't giving up a lot of runs. He posted his 3rd best win-loss record of his career this year. So I don't know. Like, did he have a bad one? Now, here's how he did. He was 1-2 in April. He was 5-1 in May. He was 1-4 in June, 4-1 in July, 3-2 in August, and that's when he started his rest. He pitched on August 28th. Then he pitched on September 12th. Just gonna say 8 and 9. Because everyone should know this, earning a W against the Red Sox. And then 4 days later, he took the loss against Texas. Then he took another loss 7 days later in Cleveland. So, he gave up 6 runs on 7 hits. And his losses in the time that he was losing came against a lot of the good teams. Now, and that was his June. He lost to Seattle, Houston, Tampa Bay, and Toronto. And he won one against Detroit. Good job. So, I'm looking. I looked at these numbers. I looked at a lot of this shit, and I was just like, I don't think he's cooked. I think he's going to be fine. I think he's coming back next year, and he's going to be okay. But they need to figure out what he needs to do because he clearly was gassed, I think, kind of towards the end of the year, or the Astros are just that fucking good. I don't know. I mean, it's an unfair thing because the eye test was unreliable in me because I thought, and it's headed into my head because of that last game that he pitched, Lance Lynn fucking ended like a fucking dump truck, and he didn't. Like he did okay. And he had a great year for him, and he deserved his extension. And hopefully, it follows through the next year. I do have no qualms about him becoming the next Dallas Keuchel on this team. I think he's going to be great, which is great for us because the man likes Goose Island and he likes steaks. So bring it on, big boy. We're ready for you. I'm sorry I doubted you. If I talk shit about you, Lance, I apologize. I will get you a 3XL Wave Suck sweatshirt sent over to the stadium as soon as I can. And please accept our apologies, and we would love to get a hammer with you someday.
I'd love to piggyback on that. You
Yes.
know, the only thing that changed for me with Lance Lynn, I dove in a little bit too and took a look at my Sox summer. The only thing that changed is I said at Buffalo Wings and Rings that I think Lance Lynn could be this Lance Lynn at 400 pounds. I don't think so anymore. I don't think he can get that big and still be productive. Because like you were noting, kind of, you know, if you go OPS by month, all right, as the season wore on, he only gave up 514 OPS in March, April. It was 485 in May, so terrific. He's kicking everyone's ass. June, 684. July, 618. Then you get to August, 719. So that's when he was dragging ass. The knee was bothering him. You know, chubby. It's hot. Remember, he gets all greasy and everything.
Mm-hmm.
After they rested him, and you go into the September, October, back to a 607 OPS. So he kind of found it and had some rest. I think they're just going to have to be a little more diligent with not burning the fuck out of him, right? And also, we got used to the 1.99 ERA in the first half. Like, that's career shit right there. That's not what's going to always happen here. And his playoff matchup was a bad matchup for him. It was just like he went against a team that fucks him up, and they fucked him up, and we got to watch it, and we're like, oh, fuck, this is bad.
Beef, yeah. As you're talking about that, all I could think is like, you know, like the O linemen in like their, you know, 12th season, where they got like, they're wearing like 2 huge knee braces. They start the game with blood on their pants.
Yep.
Like that's how I envision Lance Lynn taking the mound all year.
And not
this year, just huge knee braces, just covered in blood, like Leatherface, just throwing strikeouts.
And not those fancy neoprene knee braces. Those fucking Ace ones that are like nude color. Like old guy nude Ace man.
Over the pants too. I want them over the pants so I could see them. You know, like,
I'm talking like the fucking Forrest Gump magic legs, like just all metal, just holding shit together. Like you think if you take this off, the leg just falls apart. It's duct taped and screwed in together, just keeping all the shit there.
RoboCop legs, hell
yes.
Damn right.
Shooting guys in the dick.
We need RoboCop.
All right,
need that motherfucker. So anyway,
we start getting into Houston, and so we might as well just talk about this shit.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
so let's talk about it from the hitting side. So you know, let's start with, are the Sox too right-handed?
You know, that's something that's being put out there in the internets lately, and it was kind of a thought going into the season that the Sox kind of need a lefty slugger or whatever. I think it is the case that they're actually too right-handed. I think it's a little oversold right now. I think they can probably solve this either with a minimalist approach of dropping in left-handed bats that they're comfortable using, you know, ahead of some of the good righty hitters, or just get one big swinging dick lefty. And the reason why I think this is because I took a look at the playoff stats, right? And White Sox hitters hitting right-handed. Okay, so could be the switch hitters hitting, you know, turned around against a lefty, and then our righties hitting against righties and lefties in the whole series. And assuming I plucked this data right, they hit 349 with a 378 on base and 372 slug. So they basically hit like Nick Madrigal. They got on base like a motherfucker, just couldn't put the ball out of the ballpark. And that's where the lefties came in. The lefties hit for shit in the series. Hitting left-handed, the Sox hit 200, 302 on base, 382 slug, but they had all 3 of the home runs. And when you break this down a little further, the White Sox actually hit well in the series when they didn't have to face Lance McCullers. All right? Lance McCullers, 10 of the third innings, and he gave up 1 run to the White Sox, okay? In all the rest of them innings, which is, I think when I was looking at it, was like 25 more innings or something like that, the Sox scored 17 runs. So the Sox bludgeoned the whole rest of the Astros rotation and bullpen. Didn't seem to have much of a problem with the rest of that shit. They just ran into Lance McCullers, who fucked them up. So I think the general overreaction of we got to flip this whole thing over is maybe a little oversold, but they could use one big swinging dick lefty on this roster.
You know what? I'm going to say something, Beef. You know, I'm not going to disagree, right? I'll agree that they need that lefty, but I'd also take a righty who could hit right-handed pitching.
With
Like
righties.
like we need someone who can hit right-handed pitching, and I think people fall into that trap a lot of like, oh, we got to have a lefty to do this. Right-handed guys can hit fucking right-handed pitching too if they're good.
Right.
You know, so like and the reason I say this is because this is going to be a thing when we look at right field, right? And everyone's going to go crazy for Michael Conforto because he's probably going to be the best left-handed right fielder out there, assuming he's out there, right? Like, I don't think he's going to re-sign with the Mets. They haven't shown him that much love in his career. Right. So I think he'll be out there. He'll probably be out in a qualifying offer. Who knows what that's going to mean after the CBA? But but I mean, like if Starling Marte wants to come play here too, that's fine. Like I'm not going to have a problem with that. He can hit right-handed pitching too.
Right. Yes.
I think we just I agree with you.
Yeah.
I just don't want to go down that path mentally of like it has to be a lefty.
It has. Yeah. You're like narrowing the band of who it could possibly be. I mean, aesthetically, it would look better if it's lefty, but I agree with you. It couldn't be a righty that just smashes. It could be Nick Castellanos smashing the shit out of right-handed.
He just hits everybody.
Yeah, he hits everyone. And someone like Castellanos, he's not a great defender. But when you hit like that, you play whatever outfield position you need to, man. I'll put you in whatever outfield spot we got to, because that's what you're out there for, to hit.
I think, you brought up his name, and I think he's going to be an interesting one, right? Because in some respect, he's going to set the market because he's got to opt out of his contract. And I think he's got like 2 and 34.
Yeah, which allegedly he's going to, but it's not final yet.
I mean, he's giving up like $17 million a year, right?
Yeah.
To assume that he's going to get more.
Yeah, so he's got to think he's got longer term at a minimum and then probably more per year.
So if he opts out and then everyone's like, okay, well, right field is at least $17 million for a good one.
Yep.
Like that's not good for the White Sox.
Maybe we get Jerry from keep Jerry from putting into his Roth IRA this year and spending on the team. You think that'd be possible?
I've got some thoughts on this, but I'll save them for a little bit later.
Go ahead, my Sox summer.
As our guy Vinny Paris would say, listen, if you can get value in free agents if you evaluate things properly.
Well, that's where I fucked up, and I apologize.
So you know what? Let's just stop evaluating things improperly. Do it properly. Problem solved.
Well, let's evaluate their ground ball rate during the playoffs. What do you think about their ground ball rate?
It's not great. No, it's bad. It's bad. Basically bad. Bad in the playoffs, and they ran into 2 starters across 3 separate games who are ground ball machines. And as much as Lance McCullers fucked us up, like Framber Valdez also throws a million ground balls. So the Sox did get to him and score, but yes, he was keeping the goddamn ball on the ground. It's well noted. We talked about it early in the season when the Sox were way out in front of everyone, hitting so many goddamn ground balls. And we're like, how could they have a good offense and keep hitting ground balls like this? Well, they went from 53%, they slid back. So they ended the season at 46.1% ground balls as a team, second worst in the AL, only behind the Rangers at 46.4%. Generally a bad sign. The other offenses that are good do not have terrible ass ground ball rates like this. So I wanted to dig in a little further here on like who are the culprits? Who are the ground ball machines on this roster? I plucked only hitters that had a minimum 200 plate appearances, just so they could kind of affect it, make sure that we're getting someone that matters, not a guy who had 20 at bats and he hit 18 ground balls or some bullshit, right? So of guys who at least had 200 plate appearances, and remember the American League average for ground ball percentage is 42.5%. So as a team, they're like 4% or 3.5% above that. Here are the guys who hit a lot of ground balls for the Sox. Nick Madrigal hit 59.9% ground ball, almost 60% ground balls. He's gone. He's out.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about that.
Lurie Garcia hit 55.8% ground balls.
No
Lurie's
shit.
probably out of here also.
The guy that had more fielder's choices than anyone in the history of the league. I don't believe it.
I remember I forget where we were at, Treasy. I'm trying to learn. I want to see Lurie Garcia's at bat. You just hit me on the shoulder. You go, don't worry about it. Fielder's choice.
His last at bat as a White Sox was one too, which was just like I was glad I was there for it.
to see his final fielder's choice. There's so many you cherish from his experience here with the White Sox. You got to see the final one.
And Ozzie Guillen just thinks he gets on base. Guy gets on. He scores so many runs because he's always on base. He's on base because someone was out at second.
He sacrificed another man so he could get the glory of scoring the run. The next guy up is a guy who is a key part of this, and that's Tim Anderson at 55.3%. Tim Anderson's always going to hit a lot of ground balls. That's just kind of like part of Tim Anderson's game. There's nothing you can do there. Fourth on the list, Adam Eaton hit 54.5% ground balls. God, did Adam Eaton suck this year for the White Sox. And he was a big culprit of these ground balls. Cesar Hernandez, 50% ground balls. So I know Adam Eaton. Too. What's that?
It sounds like Cesar's going to be gone too. So
Cesar might not be here either. So out of the top 5 guys so far, it looks like 4 of them will be gone. So this is like good. We're eliminating some of the ground balls without doing anything drastic just yet. Okay, so that's the top 5. Number 6, and this is not a good one. This is a bad one. This guy needs to get fixed. That's Eloy Jimenez at 48.4%. Eloy, with them big, long levers and all that strength, he cannot fucking put the ball on the ground this goddamn much. And even the year when he hit 30-plus home runs, he was still a mid-40s ground ball percentage. I don't know who the launch angle expert is these days, but they got to get with Eloy and get that little bit of uppercut because he's going to – I mean, that's the key, really, to this whole thing, in my opinion. If you turn that 48% to 40%, Eloy's a goddamn motherfucking monster. And, like, this is where, like, just improving these guys a little bit is kind of enough to launch this thing, where I don't feel like you don't need to make wholesale changes. Just some small fixes can get it.
Beef, you know when you were in my Sox summer, you probably know this too. So when you're in your early 20s or so and you got the buddy who's got the ex-girlfriend and then you see her at the bar and you're like, this guy's gonna get in there again, he's gonna fuck himself up, and you kind of insert yourself and keep things apart. We need someone to do that with Eloy and Frank Menachino. Just keep Frank Menachino away from Eloy. Just his Menachino, your thing for, you work with the guys who are fringe players that we picked up off the trash heap. Go talk to those guys. Don't talk to Eloy anymore. Let Eloy do Eloy things.
I want it to be like Eloy is like Paulie and Goodfellas. All right, only 6 people get to talk to him.
And they're all Jose Abreu.
And Frank Menachino is not one of the people that gets to talk to him. He's one of the people that's got to go through one of the handlers. He can't come directly in.
Abreu and Grandal and Robert are the only guys that get to talk to him.
Now, 7th on this list, just going down the list, is Jose Abreu at 46.4%. I'm going to say I don't care about Jose Abreu's ground ball rate. Jose Abreu is productive with the way he does things. I'm not worried about him, and I don't think I'm going to spend any energy trying to fix Jose Abreu. Jose Abreu goes through streaks where he hits a bunch of fucking home runs. He goes through streaks where he hits a bunch of fucking ground balls. He fixes himself, etc. Forget that. Let's not worry about that. The remaining 2 guys that are above average ground ball rate out of the regulars here are Andrew Vaughn at 43.9%. Can't have that. Too slow for one to hit that many fucking ground balls. And also the power. I mean, you're here for one reason. You get Eloy and Andrew Vaughn down to like 40 or sub 40% ground ball rate. They're both fucking monsters. They're both going to crush. So like this got to be the offseason is get those 2 guys with someone who knows how to like get them to get that swing going. And then the final guy who's above average is Johan Mankata. And that kind of showed too. I mean, Johan Mankata didn't hit for any power, and he's 43.8% ground ball rate. That's another guy. We need some lift. He's got to fix the swing. We need a launch angle guy. So I see in the comments, Austin say, you got to get George Costanza in here. He's the originator of the launch angle. Get Costanza in here.
That's pretty perfect. We won the World Series in 6 games.
So yes, the main key to this thing is the White Sox are hitting too many ground balls, and it's not just a It's not a fix like they kind of fixed some of the other things with the offense, where it's just like get rid of bad player, put in good player. We're at the point where you got a lot of good players. So yes, there is going to be some subtraction effect here, where some of those guys at the top, like we mentioned, aren't going to be back. So you're going to eliminate that. But you need some of the current players to improve at this skill. They've got to get better at this one goddamn thing. And it's super key for Eloy and Andrew Vaughn. Absolutely key for them.
I mean, Andrew Vaughn hitting ground balls is like the fucking pizza guy showing up at your house with a box of broccoli. Like, it's like, I did not want any of this. What the fuck are you doing? That's it. And so I don't know. I'm less concerned about Eloy. There's an injury there. There's, he's.
But he has
he was like a guy.
He has traditionally had a high ground ball rate too, though, Treasy.
Beef, I have no problem with him hitting 40% ground balls if he's also hitting 40 home runs.
Or 30.
Ground out all the rest of the time. I don't care.
Fair enough.
But the Vaughn thing is, and I want to go back and look. I don't have it in front of me now. I'd love to see how hard he's hitting those ground balls. Right? Like, I remember Jose Abreu early in 2020 was hitting a lot of ground balls. But I remember looking at it and being like, he's hitting the ball like 110 miles an hour into the ground.
So hard. Yep.
And if he can just, and I shouldn't say just like it's some simple, just fucking hit in the air, asshole. But if he could change that and then start hitting in the air. And I'm hopeful that we'll look, but I'm hopeful that Vaughn is hitting with a similar velocity and he's just not gotten it, all together yet. And if he can turn that around and he could start hitting the ball in the air with that kind of velocity, and get rid of the ground balls, the kid looks like he has a ton of power. Everyone has said he does.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, man. Let's see it. I'm in.
Right.
Let's roll. All right.
Like a Honda Civic.
Speaking of rolling, we almost had to get rolled into our podcast seats just recently. So we decided that we might need to lose some weight. So we are in the midst of a weight loss competition, and it's percentage of body weight because we're all different. We're all different sizes of fat, guys. You know,
that's correct.
And so, we're just doing a little quick check-in, how you fellas are doing with the weight loss and kind of what you're doing right now, how you're easing into the off-season weight loss. And my Summer, I'll start with you because you're the guy who has been working out. So I want to know, like, what's the difference now? Like, I went from 0 to actually moving my body.
Yeah.
So, like, what are you doing special now?
I've tried to explain this to my wife on how unfair the percentage is, but it's the fairest way to do it, but it's still unfair to the person that actually has been doing stuff. The only thing, it's pushing me into the the next phase, right? Like, you guys are in the phase. Well, Loaf like walks and stuff. Like, he's out, he's active. He cuts lumber.
Not lately.
He's very active. He sometimes throws kettlebells.
Yeah, I do.
So I know that he has, like, he gets some there. But if you go from 0 to 60, you're gonna drop a lot of weight, like, quickly. Like, I would think, right? Like, and normally you would think the fattest guy, like, should be the one that would be able to do that the most. Well, unfortunately there's muscle underneath a lot of this fat, which weighs a lot more than the fat, which thankfully my doctor recognizes, so he doesn't, like, put me into the hospital. But it's what I have been doing, and the things that got me the most is the drinking. Obviously, they're very much slowed down on the drinking. The Saturday that we went up to Goose before we started this weight loss challenge, I think we drank 37 beers each. So, like, a guy contacted me today and was like, dude, tell me your secret. How do you lose 6 pounds in a week? And I said, well, start drinking heavily and then stop. Like, it works. It works. Like a calorie deficiency is, like, what you need to get. So what I also have done, and it's, like, kills me, but it's like I don't go and have anything to eat after 7:00. Like, I just drink water or do whatever. But yeah, that, and then I've added in on Tuesdays and Thursdays after I drop off the kid at the school, I go walk around for like an hour. And I end up all over the place, which is fun. And today I actually put the the earbuds in. And so and it keeps you on your toes because I'm totally terrified that somebody's going to run a stop sign because it's Bridgeport and people don't stop at stop signs and I'm going to get smoked while I'm listening to some bullshit Dave Matthews song. And like, I'm going to be dying in the middle of fucking, the 29th. And I'm going to be listening to Don't Drink the Water by fucking Dave Matthews Band. So what are you guys doing?
So, I mean, like I said,
you're on the Peloton, right?
I was doing nothing previously.
Yeah.
Like I just was, I went to work. That's about it. And that's like 9 steps. So I started riding the Peloton. Yeah. Nice. And like, I don't do any of the classes or anything.
Why not?
I don't want it. I don't want other people involved.
I heard Jen Sherman's a fun one. You should go check her out.
I just have been like listening to albums and then like just riding on the bike with like, they do these like rides where it's like, you're just like going through the forest and shit. That's enough for me. And like, I don't, and so then the other stuff I did, like, I haven't really done that much. Like my diet, the things I'm removing are like the snacks and stuff. Like when I'm at work, I'll go and get like, a bag of chips or something or things like that. And like, so I'm just not doing that.
Chips are bad.
And then I'm not drinking. This is the first beer I've had in like a week.
Yeah.
And so those are the kinds of things I'm just cutting out the very basic shit. And like, I lost 5 pounds because I was that disgusting. Like, I was just like, I was so full of like chips and hops that like, just not doing it for a week basically knocked off 5 pounds. So, and I know we're sponsored by a beer company, and I'm drinking beer right now, so it's not like I have completely stopped. But I mean, it's just kind of like I'm just doing the very minimum right now, to see what I can shed from that, and then I'll have to get into like a little more in depth, like diet changes and things like that.
Well, don't try too hard. Because I want to.
What are you doing, man?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of similar to your train, Treasy. I haven't ramped up the exercise at all. I literally just like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put these windows up, and I'm going to block out alcohol. I'm not going to drink. We did have drinks on Saturday night. We went for sushi.
I had a lot.
We ate a kind of a big sushi meal, but not as big as usual. Usually we'd go back and we'd order like 3-4 more rolls. We didn't. We cut it off at the monster amount of sushi we'd already eaten. So we're whittling it down a little bit. We drank too much wine that night. That's the only night I've drank until here since the Sox got eliminated. So it's more just that, and then also just like pushing my diet back to a normal human diet, not ordering out 3 times a week and eating fucking pizza and French fries and all this bullshit. Eating regular ass stuff. Now, one advantage I'm probably going to have over you boys once we get further along in this is I fast quite a bit. I do intermittent fasting a lot. Sometimes I'll do full day fasts where I don't eat. I'm comfortable doing that already. And so, like, that's really a good push the envelope as we get going kind of further along, is being able to do that. I've been doing some intermittent fasting. I haven't done a full day fast since we've started this. But, like, no, it's all been just diet. I haven't really worked out at all. I got on the bike maybe once or twice for just like short periods of time. Just get a little sweat, but not much of anything yet on the exercise side.
Beef, you're throwing out your fasting like that's something special. I use leeches. So like if you want to really get all the bad stuff out, you cover yourself in leeches. And I mean, people have been doing it for thousands of years. It's got to be good. So like I'm into that, and so I'll probably lose a good 5-6 pounds in the last week just leech wise.
Just Trees, do you want to put Timothy Maher's comment up there on the board so everyone can see it? I think everyone needs to know that this is my come to Jesus moment was the boozy milkshake in Vegas, and I had to remodel my colon.
Well, no, see, I think that's your last week's secret. I think that's.
Yeah.
The morning of the weigh-in, the boozy milkshake to just
clear it out,
empty your entire body out.
Get all the 10 years of the red meat right out of your colon. Yeah.
Divest myself of all that stuff.
It's just, I don't believe that. Is that true? Is that true that red meat sits in your fucking colon for like 10 years?
I don't know. I don't
It's
really
in Beverly Hills Cop,
imagine.
so it's probably true.
It's what?
They mentioned it in Beverly Hills Cop, so I think it's true.
Okay.
I think that's where I know it from.
And just to let the listeners know, because we put this out on Twitter,
Bullsh,
but if you're listening to the podcast, you didn't know. So the first week of the weight loss, as a group, we lost a little over 2% of our body weight, 2.16%. And that pencils out to 17 pounds as a group. So that's a pretty good first week. It's a pretty good first week for us. So nice job, everyone. We gotta keep going though. We got 21 weeks to go. I think we're gonna cut this off March 10th, which will be the 108 tourney reveal, the bracket reveal show. We'll cut it off then, and then we can get back to our hedonistic ways.
We're gonna get drunk off 3 beers. I need to get Goose Island to develop. I like the Solo, which is their 100-calorie IPA beer.
Yep.
It's fine, but it's also 2.6% alcohol. So I need about a 5.6 or just a 5% alcohol, and then I'll be fine. Like that's all I need.
How many calories is there that dry stout that they do?
I don't know.
The one that's oh man,
they don't release that all the time though. That's the bullshit thing about them.
Yeah,
it's a fucking the Irish stout, right?
Yeah,
and
I had
it's like a special fucking release.
When we did the St. Patrick's Day show.
Yeah,
I had like 1 million of those.
Yeah,
I felt great afterwards. So I'm sure they're
like stouts are very they're very low in calorie. Them stouts. And like a Guinness has less calories than a Bud Light. Like that's what people always tell you. But yeah,
K-Fitz ain't even talking about the weight loss thing. He's just talking to himself right now, just telling him vodka's the only answer.
Right.
Don't be saying your prayers and don't be saying your prayers into the comments here. All right. So let's get into some way too early off-season discussion. And I kind of kicked part of this off in a blog I wrote. Fuck you, Beef. I wrote a blog talking about Craig Kimbrell and actually trading him because I think, and guys in the comments, you can chime in here. I was under the impression at the end of the season that they were going to be like $1 million. See you later.
Yeah,
you're gone, Craig. We're glad we tried, but you failed us miserably.
This didn't work, yeah.
But then Bob Nightingale threw out there that they're going to pick up the option and then attempt to trade Kimbrell. Now, hey, look, if Rick Hahn can pull this fucking magic trick off, good for him, man. And I will be the first to go, how'd you do that? But like looking at the teams that actually need closers and then looking at the amount of reasonable closers to pick up, not to mention internal options, not to mention guys who were not closers who could fill the role, right? Like, I mean, look at the Dodgers. Like they could bring back Kenley Jansen or Blake Training's fine. Like, I don't think they're going to have a problem with just sticking with him. So I started looking at it. I was like, you have to take back a contract to trade Kimbrell.
Right.
And who are the contracts on the teams of these that are actually looking for closers? And God, it's not great. I mean, like, you could really roll the dice in some scenarios, and there's definitely some guys like, and it all depends on how wild GMs want to get. Jerry DiPoto's impossible to predict, right? Like, like I could, like if he said that we're trading Yusei Kikuchi for Craig Kimbrell, it would surprise me from any other GM. But he's a maniac, so like I don't know what he's going to do.
Who knows, right?
So, but the rest of them, like these guys are, you pretty much understand what people are going to do and what people want to do. And like I looked through it, and like to me, some of the best options out there, and these are not great. It's like getting Kiermaier back from the Rays, or taking a flyer on Mike Moustakas from the Reds,
right?
And see if he's healthy. Like if he's healthy, then maybe he's a lefty bat.
Good.
Yeah, or like real long shot kind of thing is bringing Scott Kingery from the Phillies and just see if he could become the guy that he was supposed to become.
Right.
But
I'll look him up.
Any other way, like
exactly,
they're not gonna give you a quality player for Kimbrel because they got to take the money. So they're going to give you someone that they are paying already and they want to get rid of. Alex, I see Didi Gregorius from the Phillies. I kind of feel like that's too good of a player right now. I mean, like just from the fielding aspect. And so I don't know. Maybe that would work. But again, where would you put him? Would you put him at short and then move Timmy to second? Like it's tough to fill a hole with this guy. So why not just get rid of him and then just spend the $15 million that you would have had on players? You could get 2 relievers for $15 million that are better than what we got out of Craig Kimbrel.
The dry powder aspect is the part that doesn't really get analyzed, Treasy. It's like, well, you would just have $15 million of dry powder to do whatever you want with it. And you don't have to force this thing into a hole where only a couple people are interested and figure this out, you know?
And that's the thing. There's every guy on that list that I put there.
Yeah.
If you had $15 million, you can get a better player.
You would not buy that player.
Or get 2 players for that you would want there. So like, and that's the thing. And that's why like I wanted to do the exercise. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't nuts thinking like, why are we like, if we're going to spend $16 million on him, the only reasonable answer is that he's your 8th inning guy. And even that's kind of nuts.
What I don't understand too is I was looking at salaries for 2022 that are locked in already. Now we haven't seen the market and what the closers coming out are going to get. And obviously I'm looking at 1 year AAV, so I get it. He's a single year, and so teams might be more interested in that than like a long-term deal with someone who's kind of out there. They might like, some of that cost security. Let's wipe out the fact that he sucked down the stretch. It was absolutely horrible.
Sure.
He's the second highest paid closer starting the offseason right now. He's right behind Aroldis Chapman. He's number 2. I shouldn't even say closer. Reliever of any of the relievers. It's not just closers. He's the second highest paid. So it's a very weird, like, I feel like Treasy, we're on one island and then everyone else is on the other island where they're like, oh no, they'll be able to trade him. It's going to be no problem. And I'm just like, I don't get it. I hope they're right. I hope everyone else is right and we're idiots, because it would be beautiful to make something out of that and get a profit, like squeeze a profit out of it. I just can't see it. I just can't envision it right now.
I mean, but if there's any GM that can do it, it's our GM, because he traded a broken Nate Jones somehow and got something back for it. I don't think it was very good, but he still traded him. Like Nate Jones hadn't pitched in 3 years and he got somebody to take him. It was great. I was very impressed by that. Also, did you say Scott Kingery?
Yeah, Scott Kingery.
Yeah, that guy doesn't have a positive WAR. And
No,
his batting average looks horrible. I know it doesn't matter much, but he does have a pretty badass nickname. They call him Scotty Jetpacks. So that's hot.
Well, I changed my mind. I changed my mind. We want Scotty Jetpacks on this.
I mean, you were talking about how much you love the Jetsons, and maybe on our island that we like. I don't know how you're going to trade this guy. We have all the Roombas, and we have Jetpacks. So I'm confused. I'm confused with the people that think they can trade him, but it's also probably the same people that think that we could probably trade Luis Basabe, for 20 years, even though he never did anything. And Mick Rodolfo is going to be our next year's right fielder. And Blake Rutherford is just around the corner, and he's going to be there soon. So Alex Hansen could be our 5th starter, potentially, if we have the right pitching coach.
My Sox summer. Blake Rutherford, 690 OPS in Charlotte. How do you like that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I like them apples, baby.
It's, hey. I don't even know what that means. Your brother just shaking his head like, man.
So speaking of trades, I mean, I think one of the things that has been out there a little bit has been, trading someone from the core, right? Like, so you've seen a lot about Andrew Vaughn. You've seen about Eloy Jimenez getting moved. Our guy Jim Margulis over at Sox Machine talked about moving Eloy Jimenez for someone like Brian Reynolds from the Pirates, and which would be a totally financial thing from the Pirates wanting to have a little bit more kind of financial control over the person. They have the same amount of time, I believe, or maybe it's very close. But because of the arb years, Reynolds would end up making more. I don't see why the Pirates would do that. I would be into it if they were willing to do that. I think that solves right field in some respect, right? Like you'd either keep Reynolds in center and move Robert to right, or vice versa. So, but I don't see that happening. And so I just kind of want to get your guys' ideas on like trading Vaughn or Jimenez. And look, I'm not a guy who's against trading players. Like, I'm not. But it's going to take the right price for things. But I just want to hear what you guys think about this kind of idea.
Well, I immediately would say I would not want to trade an Eloy because we haven't seen him even approach his potential for the Chicago White Sox. I think that you said that he could hit 70 home runs in a year. And 74 or not anymore? What did
74.
74. I don't want to give up on something like that. And the guy has the passion. He understands the fan base. He was getting those guys riled up over there in that corner like nobody's business in that last series against Detroit. I like him. I think he's a great guy. And I think if he's there, like moving forward as Abreu starts to decline, which is going to happen, Eloy is going to start going up. So I'm going to take – I would still bet on him to be a prominent fixture for the White Sox and a contributor in a team that could go, potentially go deep in the playoffs. Andrew Vaughn, I mean, I don't know. We traded the other phenom hitter guy. So maybe you want to keep him around. But as we discussed earlier in the podcast, we need another pitcher. Can we get a good pitcher for Andrew Vaughn? I don't know. Like, I mean, is somebody else really high on him, like half our fan base? Potentially. Can you package him up with the Blake Rutherford and get something really good?
You can't package him up with garbage.
I don't know what. But you know what I'm saying?
My Summer, think about it from the other team's standpoint, right? Like, what team is looking to trade a major league pitcher that would be valuable to our rotation with how good the rotation is for Andrew Vaughn?
Well, you'd
have to be a team that basically is not trying to win this year,
right?
And has a pitcher of that caliber that they're not going to hold on till the deadline and try and get a whole bunch of prospects for.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting idea, and I haven't given enough thought to think who would that team be.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't know that. But I mean, obviously you shouldn't be against trading anybody. You should always be listening to ideas. But I just don't. I don't know. When Eloy was like mad when the Cubs traded him, I don't want him to be mad at us. I don't want him to be mad at the Sox like he was mad at the Cubs. Like it's just he will destroy us every time we see him. And I just don't want that headache. I don't want that headache. I want him here. I want him to be our headache. Now, once again, this is a roll of the dice fucking move, right? Because he's dumb. Like, he gets hurt stupidly.
Wait, why is he dumb? What's dumb about him? Why is he dumb?
Because he dunked the fucking wall in a spring training game, and he fucking hurt himself.
He's trying to make a good play.
So that makes him dumb?
No, he was not trying to make a good play, Teresi.
What was he trying to do? Hurt himself?
It was 10 foot over his fucking head. He was trying to be fucking funny. He was trying to Kobe the rim, and he fucked himself up. That was dumb. That's dumb.
No, that was dumb. You called him dumb, though. That's why I'm trying to figure out. Why is he dumb? Why is he dumb?
I'm sorry. His decision-making in that process.
I got confused.
Okay, and his decision-making in that area was fucking stupid. It was just not good. And he does that. And he'll dive for things. Remember when he ran into the wall at the end of the year? I mean, he just does things you're just like, just don't do that. So will he get better at that? Potentially. So, or he won't. And then he'll be hurt again. And we'll be sitting here going, why didn't we fucking trade him for whoever has a negative war that Treasy put in a blog? I don't know. Well, what do you think?
I off the cuff, when I saw a lot of the stuff out there, and I even put out a poll today on 108.com just to see
108.com?
Or I mean at
on the Twitters?
On Twitters.
All right.
And I just wanted to see who do people think it has more trade value. And as a group, I mean, it's a 108-minute poll. So there's only like 400 people in there. They think Eloy has more trade value. But with the two of them, I'm reticent to trade either of them. Yeah. And the reason why is that Vaughn is on rookie contract, so there's value in the fact that he's cheap. But Vaughn and Eloy both did not have great years last year. They were okay. They weren't bad or whatever. I just feel like as long as there are, the CJ Crons of the world that are basically free every year, and these guys aren't coming off of years where they were fucking world beaters, I'm not sure you're going to get the return that you think you're going to get. Because we like these guys. We feel they're fully, right. These guys are going to be superstars. But the team trading for them could say, hey, I watched their major league seasons. These guys hit for league average last year. What the fuck? I'm not giving you all this stuff. So I think there would be a little bit of a push and pull there. Eloy has his contract kind of laid out, so he's what the cost is going to be. Vaughn could get good arbitration raises. So but I also think we talk about these being redundant parts, and so that's why that could be the motivation for trading. But realistically, when you break down what the White Sox need, they need more power. They need more home runs. They need both of these parts. They need both of these parts to make sense and work in this lineup. That's for Tony to figure out. And guess what? I'm not a fan of Andrew Vaughn's defense. I think he's too slow. But you know what? If he gives me a 130 WRC plus next year, he play right field or left field. I don't give a
or second base.
Fuck. Exactly. I'll let him go out there and hit. So my thought is, I hear a lot of the the talk out there. I wouldn't trade either of them. I would hold on to both. I would hold tight on both guys. I would let 2022 play out.
So I agree with you on the idea of I don't think we should trade these guys, but I have a slightly different reasoning behind it. And it's because we don't need to fucking trade anybody. There's a major assumption here when we talk about trading guys off of the roster is that we have no money to spend.
Right.
And so we can't possibly go out and get free agents. So we have to trade guys off of our roster because our minor leagues suck, and we got to trade guys off the roster to build up the thing. And you know what? Fuck that. And here's why. We held up our side of the bargain.
Yep.
The fans fucking came out, and I'm sorry for how much you guys are going to drink because I got a lot of F-bombs going nuts in here.
Let me mute myself so I can just start drinking.
But I feel like we kept up the bargain, right? We were the fans that never show up, right? The fans showed up. You had a good team out there. The fans showed up. Yeah. You got knocked out in the first round of the playoffs. There's holes. There's obvious holes in the roster. Fill those holes. Spend the money. Fill those holes. Don't tell me about we got to trade someone who all the fans like and has a ton of upside. Fuck that. We need to go sign guys. There's no reason to trade guys. There's absolutely no reason. There's room in the budget to go out and get a pitcher, to get a second baseman and get a right fielder. These are expensive things. You're going to have to pay for these things, but that's how you win. And it's not by trading guys off the team and creating a new hole for yourself. That's ridiculous.
Amen.
So I think that I agree. Let's not trade anybody, but let's not trade anybody because we don't have to. We have a whole market of free agents to pick from. This isn't the middle of the season. We're not stuck. There's guys out there to get. Go get them.
Go get those guys. Yeah, totally agree.
And Teresa, you're going to find out where they're at, right? How bad do you want to win? Is this going to be, and exactly. as Mr. Hand would say, is this the carrot? Is he going to throw this out, hey, just get close, and then the fans will keep coming back? Or are you going to say, let's close this motherfucker and let's fucking do it? And I think they almost made it there. I think they were with the moves to get Kimbrel, they were trying to shore that up, and it didn't work. right? And that's a luck thing.
Yeah, they took a shot. I like that
they took a shot.
Yeah.
They tried, so that's a positive thing, right?
Yeah,
like you're hoping like
yes.
That's in the right direction. They were willing to spend it. They took on a contract normally they wouldn't do, So let's do that with a fucking bat. Let's do that with something. Just do it. So I hopefully where all that merch money's coming in from all the playoff stuff. They still haven't refunded my ticket money.
I was going to say they're just going to hold. They're going to hold the money we paid for all the World Series and ALCS and just use that for the payroll this year. It's they're going to. Thanks, fans, for your donation to the payroll.
Right. We're going to get like a little card that says thanks for your donation to the whoever fund we just signed fund.
You should have known that when you had to pay for the wild card and all the home games, which is impossible.
You'll be like, you checked that box when you checked out, and I was like, because Ticketmaster was like, fucking close the deal, man. You got 3 minutes. Like, just check the box. Check the box.
Go.
Whatever. Yeah.
You're gonna be closed out of the playoffs here. Now, Treasy, while I agree with you, and I agree with the spirit of the argument, fuck that. I'm gonna pick a player to trade out of this core. I've been thinking about this.
Bring it.
Bit. Can I throw something out at you guys, and then you pick it apart, okay?
Throw it at me.
I was thinking about this. I've been hearing a lot in the mainstream media. I hear it more in the mainstream media than I hear it from the bloggers and all of us that are down here in the weeds and Twitter, that the White Sox need a big starting pitcher. They need like a starting pitcher. I really don't think they do. And the reason I don't think they do it, we covered early on, is that they were really dependent on starting pitchers going into this. And if you watch the teams that are winning, they're not winning because they got 2 aces holding them up in the playoffs. They're bullpenning this shit, and they're flexible rosters that they turn around and hit lefty against you or righty or whatever. They kind of counter what you're doing. We got to look at what could be our best weapon. So let's say we have some extra faith in a guy that we acquired last year, a guy that I've been told by my guy, friend of the show, Papa G, he's the pitcher whisperer, and that's an Ethan Katz. Okay. If I'm the White Sox and I believe in Ethan Katz's ability to drag the best out of pitchers, I think you have your pick of the litter. You were talking about the Trevor Cahills and stuff, and my guy, Matt Schumacher, got absolutely his ass kicked in this year. But those types of guys, you would think you could let Ethan Katz go out there and pick off those types of guys, and you're not going to be playing at the top end of the pool in the pitching. And that's good because it's good to get cheap innings. You kind of like depend on your bullpen when you get to the playoffs, depend on the offense. My thought is this. If you decide to re-sign Carlos Rodon, the White Sox absolute best trade chip on this roster right now, core player, is Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease is the type of player that all the teams want. All the teams think they could turn the 3 or 3.5 win Dylan Cease you saw this year into a fucking monster, into a Zach Wheeler or whoever, right? He's the guy who has the velocity, the stuff. He's durable. He threw 32 starts. He's the guy who another team thinks that's a superstar, right? Very much a guy. If you want to make a trade where you want to flip over, we want to fix a big piece of the roster. Dylan Cease would be a guy you could trade. Let me throw a couple potential trades on you.
Can I just say something really quick?
Jump in, baby. Jump in.
Papa G is going to kick your ass. Papa G is
going
to kick your ass. I'm going to send him. He ain't going to watch this whole thing. I'm going to send him just like cut right to this and go, I want you to hear what Beef said.
Do you guys know what starting pitchers in the second half this year in the major leagues had a 35% strikeout rate or higher, qualified starters?
Tell me it's just Dylan Cease.
Just Dylan Cease.
No.
Only Dylan Cease. The only motherfucker who did it, right? I'm not saying to trade Dylan Cease. I'm saying we're going low ball with this. If you want to make a trade that fucking shifts the way the team looks, Dylan Cease is the most tradable asset. Okay, in terms of trade value, he's the biggest one. Let me throw these trades on you, and how would they affect what the White Sox look like on the other side of the ball? Trade Dylan Cease to the Reds for Jonathan India. Trade Cease to the Yankees for Gleyber Torres. Trade Cease to the Mariners for Jared Kelenic. Trade Cease to the Braves for Ozzie Albies. You could get a star from some other team for Dylan Cease. I'm not saying you should trade Dylan Cease. What I'm saying is you want to go get yourself a real ass kicker and that you can't find in the market, because we're limited as to what's in the marketplace, right? You can get a real ass kicker by trading Dylan Cease.
I like Ozzie Albies. But I would still be on the fence. I would still be on the fence. And you know what's funny is like I've never been a Cease fan, right? Like it always.
He was good this year though.
Yeah, it always felt I don't know, Javi Vasquez-ish to me.
Yeah.
Like yeah, he's got all the tools, but like can he put it together? You know, or is he going to be Billy Bean out there, like too much in his own head?
Right.
You know, and so even with my reluctance to think that he's going to just keep on an upward trajectory.
Yeah. You're still scared.
Trading a starting pitcher for a second baseman, like for some reason,
fucking crazy.
Like, my stomach bubbles when I and it's not just because I haven't eaten my normal 5 meals a day. I get nervous about that, Beef. I get nervous about that. You know what? And that makes me.
It should make you nervous.
It makes me think
a real trade
the
should
right
make
thing to do.
No,
a real trade should make you. A real trade like that should be like, did I fuck up here? Like you should be a little nervous that you made it. You know, like you're just a little worried that you made it.
But then you lose a starting pitcher.
Yeah, like I said, you have Ethan Katz, my sock summer. The theory
he'll
is
just fix anybody.
He'll be able to fix some guys. You still have your top 2 starters. You still have Giolito and Lynn. And then if you bring Carlos Rodon back, there's your top 3 starters basically on last year's team. So really what you're filling is 4 and 5.
Then
Ethan Katz should be able to do that, no?
And Keuchel.
Kopech and Keuchel, and then whoever you bring in kind of as the support, you know? I'm just saying, if you want to make a dynamic trade where you actually get something, all this shit with like, yes, Andrew Vaughn is valuable and so is Eloy, but they're not like Cease is a really fucking valuable trade chip. You get some shit for Cease. Now maybe the trades I threw in there aren't optimal and maybe you would pick something else, but you could get some good shit for Dylan Cease.
You know why?
Big gape hole.
You know why I like this?
Fucking pitching.
You know why I like
God.
this? I absolutely love this, and I'll tell you why.
Shut up.
The Sox are not gonna do it.
No, they're not.
And the last time you threw out a big trade like this, the guy became a fucking superstar. So let's let Dylan Cease become the Luis Robert of our rotation.
Monster. He could.
And me and you will be sitting in the stands when we play the Reds, going like, oh, man, you wanted to trade for Jonathan India. You want to trade for Jonathan India. That was a bad idea.
You're going to give Dylan Cease away for Jonathan India.
It was a bad idea. We'd have Eugenio Suarez and Jonathan India in our infield. No Luis Robert, no Dylan Cease. I want that conversation in the 108, and I want all of you people in the comments to be there with us.
Ain't the first time I've been bodied, won't be the last for my dumb
and if you're looking for stuff during the rest of the off season of shit like this, where we're talking wild, Beef, why don't you tell people where they could find it?
Absolutely. We need you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're watching us on the live stream right now and haven't subscribed, make sure you tickle the undercarriage of that subscribe button and get on board. If you're listening on the podcast feed and have never enjoyed the eroticism that is the YouTube version of the show, just go to youtube.com/FromThe108, hit the subscribe button. Our previous goal was 1,000 subscribers. We have hit that. We've shot past that. We're almost to 1,100 at this point. Our new goal, 2 million subscribers. That's how many the Minecraft YouTubers that Bonita Stakey watches gets. I figure we got to be as good as these guys that are like 19 years old playing video games that would kick our ass in ad revenue on YouTube. So let's shoot for that.
And we'll play Gin Rummy on here sometime, maybe.
We'll play Scrabble and Parcheesi for you guys. No problem.
I would play Scrabble with you guys. On
you got an A. Oh, that's
Fellas,
Go Fish. Let's go fish.
We're bringing something back. It's time for Last Call.
Yes, love Last Call.
All right, Last Call is where each one of us brings a topic. It doesn't matter what it is. We could talk about whatever we want. My Sock Summer, I'm going to kick it to you first. Give us your last call topic.
Something that comes up quite like regularly during the season, especially, is why isn't there anything around the park to do, like other than Shy Sox, other than Turtles, other than Cork, other than Buffalo Wings and Rings, other than Mitchell's, other than all these other fucking bars that are all over the place. People are like, it's not close enough. We need a goddamn little thing to go to. Okay. So here's the deal, folks. Last weekend, our man Loaf was out and about in the town. Fucking Bears are playing the Packers. Number one rival.
Yep.
Loaf, I assume the bars, Turtles and Cork, which are right by each other,
Yep.
there was people spilling into the streets watching the fucking rivalry game, right?
I drove down 33rd Street,
Uh-huh.
right past Turtles. Absolutely no one outside. I counted 3 heads quickly inside the bar. When I got to Cork and Kingery, even a little better. No one outside again, but there was about 8 people in the bar. So a total of 11 people out to watch the Bears' biggest rival, Bears-Packers. Justin Fields is starting. It's a big game. They just went out to Las Vegas and won. There were 11 people at the 2 bars right there by the park watching the game.
People. Now, folks, this is a family neighborhood. Okay. And people aren't really going out 24/7. So we need to attract the people into the area. Somebody posted a Twitter poll. I forget the guy's name. I apologize. But he said, would you go and party at Guaranteed Rate Field during the winter if there was like a sports bar? Well, folks, we have a sports bar across the fucking street, and it's called Shy Sox Bar and Grill. Now, I think about 9 years ago, they had, hey, come and check out our, TVs and watch some football. And I think that lasted all of about 6 weeks because no one showed up. And it was horribly advertised. And this is my question to you guys. What do we need? We've talked about this several times in the chat. Feel free to bring up everything we put in the chat. What do we need to put in? Well, not everything. I mean, according just to this.
Oh, just about
let's just stick on this. Focus.
I was going to say, I don't know.
Focus. Don't talk about everything. No. What do we need to put in Shy Sox Bar and Grill that will attract people to come down? There's plenty of parking. There's plenty of TVs. It's good food. What else do we need to get people to come in? Loaf, you want to start? Or
yeah,
Therese,
sure. I mean,
I
think the first thing you need in there is a sports book. Like a sports book would be a major draw to get people to come down and say, okay, I'm going to come hang out here and we're going to place our bets. I'm going to watch the games here together and just have a window or two and allow the people to bet, or even if it's just a kiosk betting, whatever the fuck, figure out a way to let people place bets in there. And if you had a sports book there, I think you could do some good business. College football, pro football. Yeah, you'd be able to line some people up.
Nice. Chorizo.
Yeah, I think, the Sox have, because it's their place, they have access to different things than other people, right? Like, so they should get, some Bears players in there, some White Sox players, like the former players. They have the ambassadors for these things. You bring these guys out, and during basketball season, like Scottie Pippen's in there. You have to buy Scottie Pippen a drink to even come in the bar, right? Like, this is like, you have to make it like, these guys are going to be here these days, and then get people to come in to see them, to be around them and watch a game with these guys. And I think that would give you something. Beef, I love the sportsbook idea. I think we, especially if you combine those two, I think that you'd have a lot of people in there every week, and the spillover would go to the bars that are currently empty.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I mean, I would put sportsbook. I see in the comments, Brian has said, have Henry Moorhead in there every night.
Oh man, I'd be there.
I was gonna say we'd become best friends with Henry Moorhead.
Him and RoboCop Thornton in there, and we will. Fuck Camposo though. Camposo can't come.
No. He's out. I would also figure out a way to get some slot machines in there too. Make it
that
so
whole
it's like
the upstairs.
The upstairs, yeah, baby.
The upstairs is just slots.
Get that shit ringing up there, baby. Like, get it so that it's got the added feature. I love the idea, Treasy, of bringing in former players and stuff, and they don't even have to have a signing, just to hang out, just hanging out.
But
like Ron Kittle's there to talk shit to you, just
exactly. like he does to us every time. He sees us.
Yeah. No, I think I like the player aspect, and you have to figure out how you do this. And I think one of the big things is like you have a building and it's just sitting there, and it comes out like a swinger situation. It's like you have these claws, and you're like, how do I kill this bunny? Like you have alcohol, you have food, you're paying the bill. Like just have fucking somebody show up. Like it's not hard. Give it away. Give it away. Your food. Make
it's good food too. The maple wings are terrific, man.
Or you know what, Love? Fucking make some chili dogs. Who gives a fuck? You know, it's just like if it's cheap and it's family friendly ish. You know, I don't want it to be totally family friendly. Right. I'm not talking stripper poles, but I definitely want some guys throwing down some bets. You know, I want like why isn't the like you know like the points bet folk? Why aren't they taking it over? Why aren't the Barstool guys like, hey, let's put some shit up in here?
I agree with Mailman Jack. You need Albert Bell.
Well, Jack, I don't know that we want Albert Bell in a bar. It doesn't. That's not good.
The sponsor might not approve.
Joey Bell shows up when Albert Bell's in a bar.
Say Albert Bell though put you on your ass. That like your Raphael Belliard, whoever it was, he forearmed. I mean, now that's an attraction right there.
Do we need Albert Bell in there? Kimbo slicing guys? The fuck?
That's what you need. Celebrity boxing. Albert Bell's one of the fighters. Yes, that's what you do.
That's not bad either.
Albert Bell versus Emery Moorhead. We got it.
You could definitely have stuff like that. You could have jerk offs like us go in there and record a podcast. I mean, it worked all year for Goose Island folks. Yeah. People showed up. And we give away a bunch of free shit. People were right there. And apparently we make a good beer. So we're good with that. But
that's true. Like they gotta serve Little Friday Lager.
Right.
Like that's
we show up with the fucking kegerator. It's like PCU, motherfucker. We're partying down right here, right now. Plus size, male only wet t-shirt contest indoors. We can make it happen. Now, you could also get the athletes to come in and actually slide. We get our guys, the Collector's Cave, come up there. They got one more venue they can have people at, right? And it's just like those guys are fucking diehard. Like they like you get Arias. They have like what's the guy's name that was played for the Cubs? Arias Ramirez or what the fuck? What's his
Ramos Ramirez?
Yeah, that dude. Yeah, they got him. Who the fuck's paying the fucking?
Everyone drink for Aris Ramirez.
Sorry. People are paying money for him to autograph shit. Like, literally, you think Ron Karkovite's going to get $25 a fucking cent? I mean, my God. And I would love it because I would like to see what he looks like right now. And then we could talk some shit.
Well, think about this, my Saxon. Remember they had John Daly in there as a promotion?
Yes.
It was packed. That bar was packed with John Daly in there.
John Daly was he was a guest bartender and he was too drunk to serve beer.
No, he wasn't serving beer, you son of a bitch. He was serving the John Daly, which is an alcoholic Arnold Palmer.
Still, he was shit.
I know. Delicious. I was making a joke about the idea of how difficult it is to serve a beer.
Listen,
damn it,
the man carries around M&Ms in his fucking pocket. You should not be making fun of him, regardless. Okay, but anyway, this is what you need to do. You need to fucking entice people to come. You can't just build it and they show up like they do in Iowa. You got to have something for them to fucking enjoy. Give away some t-shirts. Give away some fucking wings. You know how many times we went to the goddamn Shy Sox Sports Grill when we could fucking counterfeit the fucking coupons to get free appetizers every time? A lot. Okay? I'm just saying. You pop a 50. Listen.
Have we ever blogged about the counterfeit coupon?
But listen,
we should though. We should.
Was it immoral? Yes.
Statute of limitations are gone.
100% immoral. It was the worst thing. But the thing is, they paid $6 for the fucking chicken wings that they gave us for free, and we spent $76 in alcohol the first round. Okay, I don't understand. Your markup on booze has got to be better than food.
The stack of the coupons for the free things was like in Beverly Hills Cop, the Barabons, the stack of Barabons. That's what it looked like. That's how thick that shit was.
No, it was Beverly Hills Cop 3.
The fake money,
the fake money printing off that said "kiss my ass."
The best part is I would cut them and then I would crumple them up and weather them to make them look, hey, you've had this for a while. And then we'd
It's like an umpire rubbing the baseballs down with mud before the game.
There would be 4 of them right there. So, like, yeah, I mean, anyway, let's entice these motherfuckers. Let's make
so
it
bottom
happen.
line is we want Shy Sox to be open more so we can rob them blind with fake coupons.
We need free wings.
That's right.
Beef. What's your last call, baby?
I got dealer's choice for you guys today. Dealer's choice. Either we're going to go with something I recently watched and a poignant question for you two, or a story about how the beef loaf fucked up.
Oh, what was the first one?
Something I watched and a poignant question for you.
I'm gonna go with the first one because I know you for a long time because we grew up together.
Yeah.
And the beef loaf fucked up stories that you tell always somehow put you in a really good light.
Good light, yeah.
And I don't want that.
Yep.
Okay, fair enough.
I fucked up, but I made $1.5 million, and look at the hot tub I just bought. Hey!
How dare you? How dare you? So recently, I think I tweeted about this. I watched the documentary on Netflix called Count Me In, which is basically about drummers. So they had Stuart Copeland and Stephen Perkins and Nico from Iron Maiden, Chad Smith, Cindy Blackman. I mean, there are a ton of drummers in here. They basically talked about all-time drummers and influences. They talked a little bit about kind of the technical side of drumming, which I know nothing about drumming. So they talked about it in terms that even a noob like me can understand. But what's interesting, too, is that they talked about the camaraderie and the cohesion that is involved in a band, and how drummers, they're back there keeping time, but they find the spots to kind of get themselves in there and show their individuality. And it was kind of interesting when they went through a few of the drummers and just talked about what they did. I think it was the Queen drummer is Roger Taylor, right? Mm-hmm. And just like him, how he was stylistically, and then Charlie Watts, like how Charlie Watts would run the tempo up on these Stone songs and was kind of like unique the way he did that. Or like how Keith Moon was just like a show all himself. He was the best looking guy in the band. He was fucking a huge hitter and just like this attraction, just kind of went through. Or they went how like Ringo Starr almost like runs when he drums. He's like fucking dancing basically, so they went through all the styles and shit. What's interesting about like the rapport and all the camaraderie that takes place. So my question for you guys, as I'm watching this, my brain starts running. You both been in bands. You gentlemen have both played in bands. Terezi's more senior playing in bands than you, my Sox Summer, but you played in bands as well.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's parallels with the type of cohesion you need in a band to make good music as you need with your podcast mates to make a good podcast? Do you see any parallels between the two?
I would say yes, and here's why. Here's why, and I think this is a very drummer-esque thing, and this might just be my experience with the many different drummers I've played with and drummers I've worked for too. I think there needs to be someone amongst the group that is just not going to bullshit, is just going to tell you how they feel and how it is, and be like kind of like not soft shoot anything.
Okay.
Just kind of be like a straightforward guy. Like, hey, we fucked this up, or hey, that was my fault. We got to do this right, and kind of guide you in the moment, right? Like like drummers ain't writing all the songs. Drummers ain't, they're not doing like a lot of the other stuff. But when it comes to the show, when it comes to like you're getting into the show, they're driving it, right? Like, I mean, like if that drummer's playing too fast, everything's too fast. Mm-hmm. If they're playing too slow, you're suddenly a sludge metal band, right? And so there's the two aspects of them is like they're typically I'm gonna give it to you really fucking straight, and this is why you're fucked up. And when it comes to the show, they got to drive it, right? And so I think that those things are needed in a podcast. I think in a podcast though, like especially like if I'm looking at our group, it doesn't have to be the same guy. It's just those two aspects of what I've known drummers to be. Mm-hmm. Those two aspects need to exist, or you're going to just go off in tangents, or you're just not going to be where you need to be.
So you're like the drummer.
No. only in the aspect of driving the show.
Yeah, I mean you are.
I
think that is you.
I think Beef is the other part of it. Like the Beef is the more of the guy who will tell us like we fucked up or we need to get better at this or we got to do this. Like I never tell you that, my Sock Summer. It's Beef's fault. He's a prick.
You've
I'm
never
pointing
told
the
me
wrong
you
way.
fucked up.
I'm the jerk.
Fuck that guy.
This dude. Oh, that dude. No, and I think you're not wrong. I think that Loaf is definitely the I want to say nitpicker, but he also drives a lot of it, and the reason that he does that is because he is incredibly hard on himself. So like he just pushes it off to us. Like I've never seen a guy like fuck up. And I know you've talked about your basketball days, but like you overanalyzed everything, and as a bench player, that's like awesome.
I got time.
Right. Like, but like why you would think that over, like you would have a good game and you would be like, this, I still sucked at this, and this. And I feel like that's what we're like that's what it is like with us. And like, we have I was thinking about this the other day, and it's odd that this question came up. And I think when I was in a band, I always was just like, okay, well, the guy that wrote this song or whatever, like he just did it himself. He wrote the music, he wrote the lyrics, he wrote this, he did that, and that's just really not the case. Like it's like a group effort, and it is a group. It's 3 brains working on something to make something pretty awesome, or 5 brains, or whatever the fuck.
Right.
So, and I thought about this, and I think the 2 times in my life that I've experienced, like, well, not just 2 times, but like 2 of the ways that I've experienced like a good bliss thing, has been when I was in a band with 2 other good friends, and we just had a rockin' ass good time, and you're just like, okay, fuck this works. Like this works. And for us, we've had that a few times, but most notably, and probably one of my favorite times that we've sat down and just talked shit was on Redline. And it was just like, a culmination of everything that we had kind of worked for and work towards, and I was telling Joey, our guy that works in the Craft Cave area, I was telling him, it was just like to be in a space that where there is professional people, like you're treated as like talent, which was crazy. Like, and you have professional microphones, you have somebody producing, you have somebody doing all the other shit that you don't have to think about. The only thing you have to think about is fucking being creative and saying good things. And it was like, okay, like this was fun. Like, and this is what it's supposed to be like, right? Like it's supposed to be like this.
Yeah, that's.
But anyway, but those are like that. Like I had just thought about that, and so that's funny that this was brought up. But
I didn't even realize you froze up. I thought you ended with dramatic effect.
No, I didn't. No, I always got to ruin it somehow. But yeah, no, I just like those. It's just been. Yeah, I think you have to have that cohesion between each other. Like we understand where to get in. Like to quote the Wally, get in where you fit in, and like how to like pop in with something. Add on this, when to bust somebody's balls pretty hard and when not to, and things to talk about and things not to talk about. So I mean, we're not, and I don't think that we ever had to sit down and discuss any of this. It was just, I think we're all good listeners, so we can kind of like, we just kind of play off each other.
My Suck Summer, a great example with the Red Line Radio, because like for these shows that we do, we prepare and everything. That one, the only thing we prepared were the 3 things we're going to break Dave's balls about. The rest of it was flow. The rest of it was, let's see where everyone goes. You fit in here. You go this way. Talk now. Jump over this. Whatever. So that's a good call. All right. I appreciate that. That was good. I like the feedback from you guys. Treasy, close it out, baby.
Yep.
All right. So not too long ago, Beef, you posted a tweet that you deleted. You don't delete too many, but you deleted this one, and it was you had posted a link to lemonparty.org. Don't go to this. Don't
go there.
But do not go to lemonparty.org.
I think you and I were on the same page where we're like, I thought everyone knew what that was.
I didn't know what it was.
And so it made me realize, though, I think some of the things that I take for granted that people know, they don't. They've never heard of it. They've never seen it. And so with that, I'm going to give you
Here's
guys tonight
lemonparty.com.
a reading of the greatest review ever put on the internet.
Oh boy.
And this is for the Haribo sugar-free gummy bears. And this was originally on Amazon, but it's now only able to be found on Reddit. And the title of it is Just Don't, Unless It's a Gift for Someone You Hate. Let's begin. Oh man, words cannot express what happened to me after eating these. The gummy bear cleanse. If you are someone that could tolerate the sugar substitute, enjoy. If you are like the dozens of people that tried my order, run. First of all, for taste, I would rate these a 5. So good. Soft, true to taste fruit flavors, like sugary variety. I was a happy camper. But, or should I say, but B-U-T-T. Not long after eating about 20 of these, all hell broke loose. I had a gastrointestinal experience like nothing I've ever imagined. Cramps, sweating, bloating beyond my worst nightmare. I've had food poisoning from some bad shellfish, and that was almost like a skip in the park compared to what was going on inside of me. Then came flatulence. Heavens to Murgatroyd. The sounds, like trumpets calling the demons back to hell. The stench, like 1,000 rotten corpses vomited. I couldn't stand to stay in one room for fear of succumbing to my own odors. But wait, there's more. What came out of me felt like someone tried to funnel Niagara Falls through a coffee straw. I swear my sphincters were screaming. I felt my delicate starfish was a gaping maw, projectile vomiting a torrential flood of toxic waste. 100% liquid. Flammable liquid. Napalm. It was actually a bit humorous for a nanosecond, as it was just beyond anything I could imagine possible. And it went on for hours. I felt violated when it was over, which I think might have been sometime in the early morning of the next day. There was stuff coming out of me that I ate at my wedding in 2005. I had 5 pounds of these innocent-looking, delicious-tasting hell bears. So I told a friend about what happened to me, thinking it had to be some type of sensitivity I had to the sugar substitute. And in spite of my warnings and graphic descriptions, she decided to take her chances and take them off my hands. Silly woman. All the same for her. And a phone call came from her while on the toilet, because you kind of end up living in the bathroom for a spell, telling me she really wished she would have listened. I think she was crying. Her sister was skeptical and suspected that we were exaggerating. She took them to work since there was still 99% of a 5-pound bag left. She works for a construction company where there are builders, roofers, house painters, landscapers, etc. Lots of people who generally have limited access to toilets on a given day. I can't imagine where all those poor men and women pooped that day. I keep envisioning men on roofs crossing their legs and trying to decide if they can make it down the ladder or if they should just jump. If you order these, best of luck to you. And please don't post a video review during the aftershocks. P.S. When I ordered these, the warnings and disclaimers and legalese were not posted. I'm not a moron. Also, not sure why so many people assume I'm a man. I am a woman. We poop too. Of course, our poop sparkles and smells like a walk in the meadow of wildflowers. Thanks for all the great comments. I've enjoyed reading them, and so glad that the horror show that I experienced from snacking on these has at least made some people smile. Guys, I love that review. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. That's it for us. We'll be back. We're going to do a cadence of every other week now during the off season. So we'll see you in 2 weeks. In the meantime, we'll probably have some stuff. So we'll talk to you very soon. Everyone have a good night. See you soon.
Peace.